Chapter 598. As soon as Lu Wu said this, everyone suddenly understood. No wonder Zhongli Baiqi was not in the eternal heaven starry sky city, and even Jinming Qianbo wanted to find his disciple to compete with him. It turned out that the root cause was that idiot's artifact crafting store. Naturally, no one would think that the Baiqi artifact crafting store was really that precious. There must be something in this shop that was very precious. Chuan Xinluo gave a cold snort towards Jinming Qianbo, and his tone turned cold. Lu Wu, you better speak clearly. What exactly does the Baiqi artifact crafting store have? If I win, I want the Baiqi artifact crafting store. Moreover, I only need 1 year. Lu Wu spoke to Chuan Xinluo without changing his expression. Sure, just say it. As long as you win, you can have the Baiqi artifact crafting store for a year. Chuan Xinluo stared at Lu Wu and spoke in a slow voice. Ningqing couldn't help but give out a dark sigh in his heart. Having a high cultivation truly made one hell of a person. Chuan Xinluo didn't even ask Xin Yan or him, the two owners of Baiqi artifact crafting store, before directly giving out the promise of Baiqi artifact crafting store. Even if it was Zhongli Baiqi, he most likely did not even put him in his eyes. What was strength? This was what it meant to be strong. If senior apprentice brother Tsang Wei's cultivation had recovered and he was still here, he would have immediately slapped this heavenly emperor-leveled heart to see just how strong this heavenly emperor-leveled heart was. Unfortunately, Ningqing could only fantasize about it in his heart. Because there's a treasure in the Baiqi artifact crafting store. This treasure must be refined before it can be taken away. Zhongli Baiqi, that waste, after obtaining this artifact crafting store. Even after refining it for a full 100 years, he still could not refine this treasure. I promise that if I win, I'll only need a year. If I'm unable to refine it within a year, I'll hand over this Baiqi equipment forging store. Before Lu Wu could finish his words, Sect Master Qiyun Bayan of the God Tool sect anxiously asked, "What treasure is it?" The other cultivators also looked at Lu Wu anxiously. Zhongli Baiqi was a powerful artifact crafting grandmaster, yet he could not refine this treasure even after 100 years. From this, one could tell that this treasure was not a trivial matter. A fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe. Lu Wu's words immediately caused an uproar and made everyone unable to sit still. At this moment, the cultivators here could not wait to rush into Zhongli Baiqi's artifact crafting store. The news of the good fortune treasure's fragment appearing was simply too terrifying. Chuan Xinluo stood up and stared at Lu Wu, before speaking with a somewhat urgent tone. "Is what you said true?" "Of course it's true. Did Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart want to go back on his words?" "If you want to go back on your word, I, Lu Wu, will leave immediately. I believe that Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart, as the premier powerhouse of the grand culmination starry skies, would not be so untrustworthy, right?" Lu Wu spoke with a flat tone. Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor suddenly laughed. "Lu Wu, I Chuan Xinluo have never gone back on my words. You don't have to use such words to squeeze me." Even if Chuan Xinluo laughed out loud, without even the slightest fluctuation in his emotions, Ningqing still had a feeling that Chuan Xinluo still felt excited. Not only did Chuan Xinluo feel excited, but all the people here also felt excited when they learned that the Baiqi artifact crafting store contained a fragment of a good fortune weapon. Ningqing was very calm. He had some doubts about Lu Wu's words. No one was more familiar with the toughness and strength of a good fortune treasure than him. He had escaped many times with the help of the mysterious yellow bead. If the mysterious yellow bead could easily shatter, then Ningqing would have already died. The reason why he doubted Lu Wu's words was that the indestructible axe was a good fortune treasure, so how could it break? Secondly, he had the good fortune mysterious yellow bead, so why did he not sense any good fortune treasure in the Baiqi artifact crafting store? However, if Lu Wu's words were true, then he could understand why Zhongli Baiqi had spoken such harsh words in the past. Zhongli Baiqi had asked Jinming Qianbo to get out of here for 100 years, and forbade him from setting foot in the eternal heaven starry sky city. It was because Zhongli Baiqi thought that he could refine the fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe within 100 years. Most likely, he did not expect that he would not be able to refine it after 100 years. Jinming Qianbua knew that Zhongli Baiqi would not be able to refine the fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe within 100 years, which was why he agreed to Baiqi's words and really got out of the eternal heaven starry sky city. If not, then Jinming Qianbua's understanding of the good fortune treasure fragment was even better than Zhongli Baiqi's. Leveled heart heavenly emperor. Truly an upright person. Lu Wu really admires you. After Lu Wu heard those words, he immediately cupped his fists and spoke. If he entered the Baiqi artifact crafting store, he would not have to worry about Chuan Xinluo plotting against him. Chuan Xinluo showed a faint smile and ignored Lu Wu. Instead, he spoke to Jinming Qianbua. Since Lu Wu won, he can occupy the Baiqi artifact crafting store for a year. For the sake of fairness, you can also occupy it for a year if you win. Jinming Qianbua's expression turned ugly as he cupped his fists towards Chuan Xinluo, implying that he acquiesced, but did not speak. Facing Chuan Xinluo, he did not dare to refute even if he had the courage. Okay, then let your disciples start the artifact crafting competition. I will be the witness on the side to see who wins. After Chuan Xinluo finished, he then turned to the cultivators around him and spoke. What Lu Wu said is true. Zhongli Baiqi has been refining for 100 years, and still could not refine the fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe. Presumably, this fragment would be very difficult to refine. Since everyone has come here today, then after 2 years, we will enter separately and try it out. In the future, whoever refines it within a year will own this fragment. Hearing Chuan Xinluo's words, the expressions of the rest of the cultivators immediately turned for the better. That's right, even if you are Chuan Xinluo, you should not eat it alone. Ningqing secretly thought that this Chuan Xinluo truly knew how to conduct himself. No matter what happened in the competition, he would always be the second person to enter the Baiqi artifact crafting store. After being the first to refine it for a year, in terms of seniority, who could beat him, Chuan Xinluo? Qian Bian, who originally wanted to send a disciple to participate in the competition, immediately gave up the idea after hearing Chuan Xinluo's words. Sun Yan's face turned pale. She did not expect that the Baiqi artifact crafting store would have such a treasure. If she had known about it, she would never have agreed to participate in the competition. Ningqing stood there until now, but no one had noticed anything unusual about him, which made him feel relieved. At the same time, his courage also grew. After Chuan Xinluo finished speaking, he suddenly stepped forward and cupped his fists. Because of Heavenly Emperor, my eternal heaven starry sky city has always been the fairest place in the entire starry sky. Now that this disciple has some grievances, I ask Heavenly Emperor to uphold justice for me. Chuan Xinluo did not expect that Ningqing, a mere celestial scryer cultivator, would dare to speak in front of him. As a peak-level Heavenly Emperor, he did not care about Ningqing's offense and spoke up in a flat tone. Speak. Yes, many thanks, Heavenly Emperor. Ningqing replied. Then he calmly cupped his fists and walked around before speaking to Chuan Xinluo again. Seniors, respected Heavenly Emperor. Disciples from the 3 parties are participating in the competition. Baiqi artifact crafting store belongs to my master, Zhongli Baiqi. My master wants to take out his artifact crafting store as the prize for the competition. But since it is a 3-party competition, I can't let my master take out the prize alone, right? I would like to ask Grandmaster Jinming Qianbua and Master Lu Wu to also take out the prize. Moreover, no matter who wins or loses, we would lose a place to live. I ask Heavenly Emperor to take a look. Ningqing knew that Zhongli Baiqi's store would definitely be taken out, so he might as well take advantage of the opportunity to gain some benefits. Well said, I will give you an artifact crafting store when the time comes. Chuan Xinluo did not care about such a trivial matter. Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City's land was expensive, but it was not for Chuan Xinluo. Haha, Zhongli Baiqi's disciple sure is interesting. What do you want? Lu Wu squinted at Ningqing. Ningqing quickly spoke up. Many thanks for the Grandmaster's inquiry, but I lack a flight-type weapon. Hearing that it was a flight-type weapon, Lu Wu immediately took out a Celestial River-class battleship and threw it to Ningqing. For a Celestial Scryer cultivator like Ningqing, a Celestial River-class battleship was already a great achievement. Not waiting for Lu Wu to take out the Celestial River-class battleship, Ningqing continued, This junior has a few celestial river-class battleships, but none of them are fast enough. Today, I had the opportunity to meet senior, so this junior wants a starry sky-grade flight-type battleship. Lu Wu thought to himself, this puny celestial scryer cultivator really knows how to boast. He even dares to say that a celestial river-class battleship is not fast enough. Just a celestial scryer cultivator. If a celestial river-class battleship is not good enough, then why would he want a battleship? However, since Ningqing took the initiative to speak, he had no choice but to throw out a storage ring. This is a beginner-level starry sky battleship. You can have it. Seeing the other party only take out a beginner-level starry battleship, Ningqing cursed him in his heart for being stingy, and immediately put away the storage ring. After putting away the starry sky battleship, Ningqing arrived in front of Jinming Qianbo, without any hesitation. Jinming Qianbo, who had just witnessed Ningqing's shamelessness, directly took out a card and spoke. There are 2 billion purple coins here. Ningqing did not take the card at all and spoke up. I have a lot of purple coins on me, but I want to buy some perpetual moon pills. However, I do not have the means to do so. I think that if I had 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills, maybe my cultivation could take another step forward. Although he spoke with his mouth, Ningqing felt contempt in his heart. 2 billion purple coins, how could this monkey's buttocks face take it out? Ningqing did not address these two fellows as senior. Instead, he addressed Lu Wu as grandmaster. As for the monkey's buttocks face Jinming Qianbo, he did not even bother to address him as grandmaster. Jinming Qianbo stared at Ningqing with cold eyes. Did you dare to ask for more? However, with so many eyes staring at him, he had no choice but to take out a storage ring and throw it to Ningqing. There are 500,000 perpetual moon pills in here. I don't think a puny celestial scryer cultivator, like you, would be able to use it all up. Many thanks. Ningqing knew that Jinming Qianbo felt very annoyed at this moment. However, he knew that he could not ask for more. With 500,000 perpetual moon pills, at least he could use the perpetual moon pills for cultivation, which would also be an open and above-board matter. Ningqing put away the things for himself, and no one said anything about it. Since it was a wager, then the winner must have it. However, the competition had not yet started, yet Ningqing had already put away the wager, which obviously did not conform to the rules. However, at this moment, everyone was focused on the fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe. Who would have the mind to care about other things? Even Lu Wu and Jinming Qianbo did not think about it. However, even if they remembered, Ningqing still had something to say about it. Let's start the competition. Seeing that the three parties had no objections, Chuan Xinluo immediately announced the start of the competition. At this moment, the competition was secondary. The most important thing was the fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe. From the moment Ningqing went up to ask for something, to the moment Chuan Xinluo announced the start of the competition, Xingyan's suspended heart finally calmed down. She felt that Ningqing had taken too much of a risk. Chapter 599. Senior Apprentice Brother, why don't you separate out a trace of your spiritual sense, and I can integrate it into my water cloud flower. That way you can fully use my flames. Hearing Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart announce the start of the match, Xingyan quickly spoke up. At this time, Jinming Qianbo and Lu Wu's disciples had already arrived at the edge of the Eternal Heaven artifact crafting pool. However, Ningqing stopped Xingyan from bringing out the flame. Junior Apprentice Sister Yan, there's no need. He then once again cupped his fists towards Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor and spoke. Heavenly Emperor, my junior apprentice sister uses a water-attributed flame. Moreover, her artifact crafting aptitude is also quite ordinary. Therefore, even if she participates in the competition, she will lose without a doubt. I've only been a disciple of Baiqi artifact crafting store for a short period of time, and my master hasn't even started teaching me yet. We admit defeat in this match. We just want a place to live. As long as no one drives me and junior apprentice sister out of the Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City, we would be lucky. Junior apprentice sister, and I want to go back and move our things away. I hope that Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart can send someone to supervise us. I know that with our cultivation, the Great Emperor will not be worried about us. However, I didn't know about the Baiqi equipment forging store before, but now that I know about it, I have to avoid arousing suspicion. Some of the more astute cultivators immediately understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, while secretly praising this cultivator's means in their hearts. Now that this matter was clear, and he knew that he would lose the match, he decided to remind Chuan Xinluo not to forget about the matter regarding the store. At the same time, it also reminded Chuan Xinluo not to let Jinming Qianbo find trouble with them. He was still playing the sympathy card. His words sounded pitiful, but there were really people who sympathized with him. How could Chuan Xinluo not understand Ning Cheng's meaning? He waved his hand and spoke, "You don't have to worry about it. Since I said it, you can rest assured. No matter who won or lost, they could just compete. After the competition, someone will take you to the new shop." As for Ning Cheng's words about avoiding arousing suspicion, he only felt that it was funny. He was not the only one who found it funny. Even the other cultivators found it funny. How could a celestial scryer cultivator avoid a good fortune fragment? Even if you touch the good fortune fragment, others will be able to see your aura. Not to mention the fact that you took the good fortune shard. In fact, even if Ning Cheng said that he took away the good fortune fragment, no one would believe it. Ning Cheng initially did not want to compete, but at this time he had no choice but to borrow junior apprentice Sister Yan's water cloud flower and walk into the artifact crafting pool. He had already guessed a few things. Maybe Zhongli Baiqi's artifact crafting store really did contain a fragment of good fortune. However, it was absolutely impossible for it to exist now. Zhongli Baiqi either took away the good fortune fragment, or found a way to hide it. As for Jinming Qianbo's belief that the things were in the store, it might have been a misdirection set up by Zhongli Baiqi. Disciple Saika Bing greets the various seniors. "Seniors, please give me some pointers." The first to walk into the artifact crafting pool was Jinming Qianbo's disciple, the red-faced cultivator with thick lips. Lu Wu's disciple Shi Yuzi disgraces himself. The second to step up was Lu Wu's disciple, a guy who looked extremely majestic. Ning Cheng, who was walking at the back, also cupped his fists and spoke. "My name is Cheng Nianxiang, and I represent the Baiqi artifact crafting store." In the eyes of the others, Ning Cheng was just a bystander. Initially, he did not want to go on stage. However, Chuan Xinluo did not want people to gossip about him, so he forced him to go up. Moreover, no one expected him to win. Therefore, all eyes were on Saika Bing and Shi Yuzi. Chuan Xinluo casually took out 15 kinds of artifact crafting materials and threw them into the artifact crafting pool before speaking. "To show fairness, I will provide the artifact crafting materials. Each of you can choose 1 to 5 of these artifact crafting materials. Whatever weapon you want to refine, you can decide for yourselves. As for the flame, whether you want to use your own or the artifact crafting pool's flame, you can decide for yourselves." No one raised any objections. This competition was secondary, and the most important thing was the outcome of the competition. Who could obtain Zhongli Baiqi's artifact crafting store first? Saika Bing was the first to choose the materials, followed by Shi Yuzi. The quality of the materials would directly affect the quality of the weapon refined. After Saika Bing and Shi Yuzi finished choosing the materials, Ning Cheng took out the last 5 materials. These materials were all Starry Sky Grade 5 and Grade 6 materials, which showed that Chuan Xinluo's mind was not on the competition. He just wanted to end this matter quickly, and then go to Baiqi Artifact Crafting Store to take a look. As the 3 people finished collecting the materials, the shielding restrictions at the edge of the Eternal Heaven Artifact Crafting Pool activated. At this moment, whether it was the cultivators outside or the cultivators inside the Artifact Crafting Pool, none of them could use their spiritual consciousness to penetrate the restrictions. Saika Bing brought out a slightly black flame with a touch of gold on the edge. Ning Cheng did not use his spiritual consciousness to explore this flame. He could feel that this flame was stronger than the water cloud flower in his hand. From Saika Bing's actions, Ning Cheng could tell that Saika Bing wanted to refine a high-grade Dao artifact. With the materials that Chuan Xinluo brought out, Saika Bing wanted to refine a high-grade Dao artifact. From this, it showed that this person's artifact crafting level was higher than his own. Shi Yuzi brought out a lavender flame, which looked a bit weaker than Saikabing's flame. However, judging from his technique, he most likely wanted to refine a middle-grade Dao artifact. Ningqing felt a little puzzled. Lu Wu came here with such strong confidence. Did he think that his disciple could refine a middle-grade Dao artifact to win? Ningqing retracted his gaze and started to dissolve his materials. With his attainments in artifact crafting, he could refine a top-grade middle-grade Dao artifact with these materials. However, he did not do so. After knowing the secret of Baiqi artifact crafting store, he wanted to lose. The three people brought out their flames and started crafting artifacts. The powerhouses at the edge of the artifact crafting pool could see that Saikabing wanted to refine a high-grade Dao artifact. Shiyuzi wanted to refine a middle-grade Dao artifact, and Cheng Nianxiong from Baiqi artifact crafting store wanted to refine a low-grade Dao artifact. If all three of them succeeded, the final winner would definitely be Saikabing. The first thing Ningqing wanted to melt was the only Starry Sky Grade 6 material he obtained. He had to use this Starry Sky Grade 6 material. If he didn't use it, others would definitely think that he did it on purpose. The moment the flame started to melt the material, Ningqing immediately felt something wrong. Thinking that this material came from Chuan Xinluo, Ningqing immediately sealed off most of his sea of consciousness. He could feel a trace of imprint on this material. Ningqing did not try to pry into this imprint. He felt sure that Chuan Xinluo had left this imprint behind. Chuan Xinluo left this imprint with the sole purpose of spying on the three people's artifact crafting process. Most likely he wanted to play some tricks in the dark. The reason why Ningqing sealed off most of his Starry Sky Sea of Consciousness was that he did not want others to know that his Sea of Consciousness was a Starry Sky Sea of Consciousness. Chuan Xinluo might be strong, but with just a trace of spiritual sense imprint, no one would be able to find out about his secret without any fanfare. Most likely, when Chuan Xinluo left behind this trace of spiritual sense imprint, he did not expect that a celestial scryer cultivator would notice his imprint. Ningqing did not want to win, but now he felt even more reluctant to contribute. Because he had sealed off most of his Sea of Consciousness, he did not have to pretend to melt the material. When Saikabing and Shiyuzi's materials finished melting, Ningqing still continued to melt the materials. These two people apparently did not put Ningqing in their eyes. They continued to carve array formations and condense the artifact shape. Saikabing was crafting a high-grade Dao artifact, the Li Xing blade. At this time, even the shape of the blade had appeared. If nothing unexpected happened, his high-grade Dao artifact should not have any problems. Shiyuzi was crafting a glazed pagoda, a defensive artifact. Although this artifact was a middle-grade Dao artifact, it was much more difficult to craft compared to the Li Xing blade. At this time, the prototype of the pagoda had also appeared, and was in the process of carving array formations. At this moment, Ningqing felt a slight fluctuation in the space around him, and the blade in Saikabing's hand started to tremble. Ningqing, who was also in the artifact crafting pool, understood that Shiyuzi had secretly made a move against Saikabing. No wonder Lu Wu felt so confident that Shiyuzi could use his spiritual consciousness to attack Saikabing. Saikabing gave a cold snort and glared at Shiyuzi. At the same time, his domain fully stretched out, causing the pagoda in Shiyuzi's hand to tremble. Ningqing thought that these two fellows must have secretly made a move against each other. Maybe in the end, neither of them would succeed in crafting. Thinking that both of them might fail in crafting artifacts, wouldn't Ningqing be the one to succeed? Thinking of this, Ningqing felt shocked. Catcha. With a sound, the blade in Saikabing's hand completely collapsed, and the artifact crafting materials turned into a pile of waste. Shiyuzi did not fare much better. Just as the materials in Saikabing's hand turned into a pile of waste, the pagoda in his hand also completely collapsed. With all the materials collapsing, what kind of weapon could they refine? Saikabing and Shiyuzi glared at each other. Both felt angry at each other for interfering, causing the weapons in their hands to be destroyed. The cultivators outside the artifact crafting pool immediately went into an uproar. None of them expected that Saikabing and Shiyuzi would end up in a stalemate. Everyone knew that the two of them had interfered with each other during the artifact crafting process. Ningqing secretly found it funny, but then he felt that something was wrong. It was too much of a coincidence for both sides to end up in a stalemate. Since his materials contained Chuan Xinluo's spiritual consciousness imprint, then Saica Bing and Shi Yuzi's materials obviously also contained it. Although he could detect Chuan Xinluo's spiritual consciousness imprint in his starry sky sea of consciousness, Saica Bing and Shi Yuzi might not be able to detect it. Thinking of this, Ningqing felt a chill down his spine. This artifact crafting process was completely under Chuan Xinluo's control. In other words, Chuan Xinluo had calculated that Saica Bing and Shi Yuzi would interact with each other during the artifact crafting process. He then used this opportunity to cause the Dao artifacts crafted by Saica Bing and Shi Yuzi to collapse. This action was done unconsciously, and no one could see it. Everyone thought that Saica Bing and Shi Yuzi had interfered with each other and failed. Even the two parties involved might have thought the same. Only Ningqing knew that it was definitely Chuan Xinluo's spiritual consciousness imprint that interfered with each other. If Chuan Xinluo had interfered, then Chuan Xinluo would have asked Saica Bing and Shi Yuzi to leave the artifact crafting pool. That way they wouldn't affect him, the contestant who was about to win. Sure enough, Ningqing had just thought of this when someone brought Saica Bing and Shi Yuzi out of the artifact crafting pool. The shielding restrictions around the artifact crafting pool then closed again. Ningqing gave out a dark sigh. No wonder he could become the premier person of Grand Culmination Starry Skies. This heavenly emperor-leveled heart truly was insidious. This person had already calculated that he would win. If he won, he would definitely hand over the artifact crafting store to Heavenly Emperor-leveled heart. Otherwise, would he not want his life? Chapter 600. Originally, Ningqing thought that although Chuan Xinluo also coveted the good fortune fragment, he was still a reasonable person. After all, everyone here agreed with his words and opinions. Moreover, he was not the first person to enter Baiqi artifact crafting store. At this time, Ningqing finally understood the power of this heavenly emperor-leveled heart. After learning about Chuan Xinluo's insidiousness, Ningqing focused his attention on the weapon in his hand. He was not worried about the weapon's crafting failure, but worried about Chuan Xinluo's spiritual sense imprint spying on his secrets. Ningqing originally planned to use only 2 materials to craft the weapon, so he decided to melt the rest of the materials. Who knew if these materials contained any traps? In case Chuan Xinluo gave him the extra materials, he would have to bear the consequences. Ningqing deliberately did not touch the spiritual sense imprint, and pretended not to know anything. As long as the spiritual sense imprint did not find him, he would not take any measures. Moreover, he also knew that this spiritual sense imprint would not touch him casually, because Chuan Xinluo wanted him to win. What Ningqing had crafted was the most common type of defensive shield. The moment the shield took shape, Ningqing felt the trace of spiritual sense imprint that did not belong to the shield automatically dissipate. Sure enough, Ningqing also felt slightly relieved. Once this shield was finished, others would have to use their spiritual sense to check it. If it did not automatically collapse, then Chuan Xinluo's spiritual sense imprint would most likely be exposed. With the final crisp sound of the artifact's completion, the round shield in Ningqing's hand finally completed. It was a low-grade Dao artifact, but because Ningqing had been very careful, it could only be regarded as a low-grade Dao artifact. However, with the completion of this low-grade Dao artifact, everyone understood that Zhongli Baiqi's disciple had taken away the first place. Haha, Zhongli Baiqi really is something else. Even if he is not here, Baiqi's disciple can still take the first place again. Chuan Xinluo laughed and stood up. Lu Wu's expression turned a little ugly. He had thought that his disciple would win. There was no other reason than the spiritual sense attack. No matter how powerful Jinming Qianhua's disciple was, under the spiritual sense attack during the artifact crafting process, he would still lose. However, he did not expect that his disciple would also lose. It seems that Saica Bing had done it secretly. Seeing Chuan Xinluo standing up to congratulate Ningqing, the other cultivators also stood up to congratulate Ningqing. In fact, these people were not even thinking about congratulating Ningqing, but rather wanted to go to the Baiqi artifact crafting store to have a look. Ningqing had to thank them one by one. After these people finished congratulating him, Chuan Xinluo spoke up with a straight face. Cheng Nianqiang, it hasn't been long since you became Zhongli Baiqi's disciple. Yet you can already craft low-grade Dao artifacts. However, you won first place today not because of your strength. I also saw that your strength is much weaker than Saikabing and Shiyuzi. You're number one because of something else. I hope that you can continue to work hard and strive to become an artifact crafting grandmaster of my Grand Culmination Starry Skies. My Grand Culmination Starry Skies values all talents extremely. A few years ago, there was a Yu clan in the Striking Order Starry Skies, a talisman refining aristocratic family. Because the Yu clan's Tao of talismans was extraordinary, I specifically invited them to Culmination Starry Skies, and let the Yu clan settle in the eternal heaven Starland. I hope you can do the same in the future. Chuan Xinluo's tone suddenly rose. Everyone, since Zhongli Baiqi's disciple won this competition, then I have to keep my word. Zhongli Baiqi's artifact crafting store will continue to belong to this Cheng Nianqiang. Ningqing cursed in his heart. He wanted to eradicate the Yu clan, but he did not have enough strength right now. He did not want to learn from the Yu clan. Moreover, to let him continue to own the Baiqi artifact crafting store, could you, Chuan Xinluo, be any more hypocritical? The rest of the cultivators did not know about the spiritual sense imprint left behind by Chuan Xinluo, and some of them even secretly praised Chuan Xinluo for his magnanimity. Not only did he say that Ningqing did not win because of his strength, but he also had to keep his promise to a celestial scryer ant. He did not change his previous statement just because Ningqing won the competition despite his low strength. Ningqing naturally would not be a fool to return to the Baiqi artifact crafting store. Did he not want his life anymore? Without waiting for the others to speak, Ningqing took the initiative to step forward and cupped his fists. Many thanks for Heavenly Emperor's high hopes. This junior will work hard to improve my artifact crafting skills and spend more time on artifact crafting. It's just that this junior fears that I might not have enough strength to keep the Baiqi artifact crafting store. Now that Master Baiqi is not here, this junior and junior apprentice sister want to move out of the Baiqi artifact crafting store. We also want to ask senior leveled heart Heavenly Emperor to work hard for a bit. What? Do you still worry about your life? No one in my eternal heaven starry sky city would dare to snatch it. You can continue to live inside without worry. Chuan Xinluo spoke with some dissatisfaction. Ningqing scolded him for being shameless in his heart before cupping his fists again and speaking. The seniors here are naturally upright, and would not go to the Baiqi artifact crafting store to find trouble with this junior. It's just that if this matter spreads out, it would inevitably attract some powerhouses. Therefore, I want to move out for the sake of the seniors 1 year later. Chuan Xinluo pondered for a moment before nodding. In that case, Feng Fu, help these two juniors find an artifact crafting store and seal the original Baiqi artifact crafting store. Yes. A man in gray robes suddenly stood up from behind Chuan Xinluo. Ningqing had not noticed this gray-robed man since Chuan Xinluo came in. This person felt like he was invisible. If Chuan Xinluo had not called this person out, he would not have remembered that he had seen this person before. 2 hours later, Ningqing and Xinyan arrived at the new store with Jianjiao. Jianjiao spoke up with a good feeling. Martial uncle, this place is much wider than the original place. You and elder sister Yan must have been afraid that I might not be used to it, so you changed the place, right? If you didn't feel so good, maybe I would have changed to a bigger place. Don't talk too much about other things, just follow behind your senior apprentice sister Yan from now on. I'm going up to cultivate. Don't bother me if there's nothing important. Ningqing then turned to Xinyan and said, Junior apprentice sister Yan, if not necessary, let's not hang the name of the Baiqi artifact crafting store. I don't have time to craft artifacts in the near future. Yes, senior apprentice brother. After the artifact crafting competition, and after Heavenly Emperor leveled heart sealed the Baiqi artifact crafting store, the professional smile on Xinyan's face disappeared completely. Ningqing took out a storage ring and handed it to Xinyan. There are some perpetual moon pills in here, which I got from selling the artifact crafting store. We can split it among the three of us. You don't have to push it, I still have some. The Baiqi artifact crafting store sold a Starry Sky battleship and 500,000 perpetual moon pills. Ning Cheng took out 300,000 for Xinyan, 100,000 for Jianjiao's cultivation, and kept 100,000 for himself. As for the Starry Sky battleship, Ning Cheng did not plan to take it out. After the Ning Cheng trio settled in the new store, Zhongli Baiqi still had not returned. He guessed that this cheap master most likely took away the good fortune fragment of the indestructible axe and roasted him, and Xinyan in the volcano. Initially, Zhongli Baiqi had told him about the good fortune indestructible axe, and said that the good fortune indestructible axe had fallen into this world. Perhaps Zhongli Baiqi dared to say such words because he obtained the fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe. After that nonsensical artifact crafting competition, Ning Cheng's matters suddenly decreased, and Zish Jun did not continue to look for him. Even junior apprentice sister Yan and Jianjiao chose to stay in secluded cultivation. Time passed by with Ning Cheng's cultivation and artifact crafting. When Ning Cheng received another message from Zish Jun, it was already 3 months later. 3 months later, Ning Cheng's cultivation reached the full circle of the Celestial Gatherer realm, and he could now refine grade 2 celestial pills. If given a little more time, and with more starry sky spiritual grasses, Ning Cheng felt that he could advance to the level of a grade 3 celestial pill master. Zish Jun's message stated that the people heading to the Immortal Jade Star had already gathered, and that the Immortal Jade Star was about to open. Under such circumstances, Ning Cheng naturally would not continue to stay at home in seclusion. He had decided to stay here to head to the Immortal Jade Star. For him, the thing he wanted the most was the Starry Sky Wheel, not the Origin Bead. Although he did not have the harmonizing celestial pill, nor could he purchase such a medicinal pill, Ning Cheng believed that even if his cultivation could not advance to the Celestial Bridge realm, he could at least protect himself within the Immortal Jade Star. A huge void airship stopped in the middle of the culmination public square. At this time, Ning Cheng had already become an Imperial Array Master capable of arranging Grade 4 Celestial River Array formations. He could tell at a glance that this airship was not a technological product, but a real flight-type weapon. Moreover, the exterior of the airship was engraved with array formations. The entire public square was packed with cultivators, while Chuan Xinlo stood in the void above the airship with a calm expression. There were hundreds of experts standing around him. Even a powerhouse like Striking Order Heavenly Emperor only stood on the edge of this place. Ning Cheng felt sure that Chuan Xinlo had visited Baiqi artifact crafting store. As for whether he had found the fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe or not, Ning Cheng could not tell from his expression. Chuan Xinlo's gaze swept through the entire public square, and everyone felt as if Chuan Xinlo's gaze had specifically fallen on them. The appearance of the Immortal Jade Star is an opportunity for our starry sky. Only the cultivators with this jade card can enter the Immortal Jade Star. However, I will say one thing. That is, every cultivator who enters the Immortal Jade Star must report everything they obtain within the Immortal Jade Star. Of the things you obtain, you will get 50%. After Chuan Xinlo finished, he raised a jade card in his hand and spoke. This jade card has the spiritual consciousness tag of several eternal level Starry Sky Emperors from my grand culmination Starry Sky. As long as you enter the Immortal Jade Star, this spiritual consciousness tag will record everything you obtain within the Immortal Jade Star. If anyone hides anything, even if it is a grade 1 Starry Sky spiritual grass, they will face the consequences of confiscating everything and then being killed. The cultivators who desperately tried to obtain the jade cards felt stunned. Even the powerhouses in the Destiny realm from the major Starry Skies felt a little startled. No one thought that Chuan Xinlo would use this move before entering the Immortal Jade Star. Ning Cheng felt relieved in his heart. He was not afraid of asking for something, but he was afraid of not asking for anything. The experts who sealed off the Immortal Jade Star had noble thoughts and morals. Whoever obtained the Jade card would be able to obtain everything they obtained within the Immortal Jade Star. But now that Chuan Xinlo put it this way, it meant that the cultivators who entered the Immortal Jade Star could only obtain half of what they obtained within the Immortal Jade Star. If anyone wants to use a miniature world, a life world, or even a true spirit master's world to enter the Immortal Jade Star, then I advise you not to go in. Because the moment you teleport, your world will shatter. Even if it does not shatter, it will still be exposed. Chuan Xinluo's tone turned cold, and the cultivators who had been discussing immediately turned silent. Chapter 601. Many discussions and noises erupted. Apparently, many people wanted to use the miniature world to bring people into the immortal Jade Star. However, Chuan Xinluo's announcement was tantamount to putting an end to any cheating. Even cultivators with pet beasts could only use spirit beast pouches. Of course, you can bring your own pocket dimension in. However, your pocket dimension can't have any life, not even pet beasts. Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart waved his hand. Cultivators with the immortal Jade Star's Jade card board the void airship now. Ning Cheng was not worried about his miniature world. Although he had the exploding golden wasps in his miniature world, the miniature world was currently within the minor 5 elements array formation of the mysterious yellow bead. If Chuan Xinluo could see through his mysterious yellow bead, he would have already died. Ning Cheng, along with many other cultivators, grabbed the jade card in his hand and flew onto the void airship. Initially, Ning Cheng thought that since this immortal Jade Star's jade card was so precious, not many people would enter. At most, only a few thousand people would enter. After all, each starry sky only had 10 spots. But when he saw the cultivators on the flying ship, he knew that he was wrong. There were at least 30,000 to 40,000 cultivators on the flying ship, and each of them had a jade card in their hands. Moreover, this was only the grand culmination starry skies. If one counted the other grand starry skies, then the immortal Jade Star would have sent at least 100,000 cultivators. Ning Cheng secretly cursed at such shamelessness in his heart. In grand culmination starry skies, there were at most a few hundred or 1,000 subsidiary starry skies. With so many quotas, it was clear that they had been sold through other channels, and the profits were definitely reaped by the various great powers. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and found many acquaintances: Tang Yu, Helian Penghua, Zish Jun. When Ning Cheng saw Jing Yi and Shi Qianghua on board, he felt very puzzled. In his mind, Shi Qianghua should have gone into seclusion. Why would a puny celestial novice cultivator go to the immortal Jade Star to die? After everyone boarded the airship, the void airship shook slightly and rushed out of the culmination public square. In just a moment, it passed through the culmination Starland's star-protecting grand array. This was the largest void airship Ning Cheng had ever seen. It had an incomparably wide deck, and even with tens of thousands of people, it did not feel crowded at all. Not only was it not crowded, but there was also a large open space. Some cultivators set up stalls in the open space, and used this time to exchange goods with each other. Everyone knew that those who could board this airship were either very wealthy cultivators, or those who had the strength to dominate the same realm of their own starry sky. This kind of person not only had good things, but was also willing to spend money. Ning Cheng walked around and bought some starry sky grade 3 and above spiritual grasses. In the distance, Shi Qianghua and Jing Yi also stood among the crowd. Everlasting sacred shrines seeking intelligence, as a sacred master in the destiny realm, naturally would not stand on the deck with so many celestial scryer cultivators. She had already entered the cabin. Jing Yi, on seeing the sacred master leave, whispered in Shi Qianghua's ear, "Junior apprentice Sister Qiang, didn't you not like to talk to male cultivators before? Why are you still speaking up for that dead cultivator surnamed Ning? Do you have a good impression of him?" Shi Qianghua hesitated for a moment before she nodded and spoke. "Yes, senior apprentice Sister Yi. I rarely have such thoughts, but I feel that senior apprentice brother Ning is somewhat cordial. But that's not all. For example, when I saw that stall in front of me, I felt an inexplicable sense of disgust. I don't know why." Jing Yi followed Shi Qianghua's gaze and immediately spoke up. "Are you talking about the Yu clan's talismans? I heard that this is a very famous talisman family, originally belonging to the striking order Starry Skies. However, after receiving an invitation from the Heavenly Emperor, they decided to come to Culmination Starland." At this time Ning Cheng was also standing in front of the Yu clan's talisman, but the killing intent in his heart was completely concealed. The one selling the talismans was a full-circle celestial gatherer cultivator. Moreover, the grade and quality of the talismans were not bad. At least for celestial scryer cultivators, it was a good thing. Compared to the surrounding stalls, Yu Clan's talisman shop's business was much better. Ning Cheng had only watched from the side for a while when the celestial gatherer cultivator from Yu Clan stood up and spoke. Friends, I have sold out of talismans. If you still want to purchase Yu Clan's talismans, please come to the Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City's Yu Clan's merchant house. After the talismans were sold out, the surrounding cultivators dispersed. Ning Cheng stepped forward and cupped his fists and spoke. Are you a disciple of the Yu Clan? That's right, I'm Yu Yijing. What can I do for you? The cultivator looked at Ning Cheng. He couldn't understand why Ning Cheng was looking for him. He seemed to have never seen this cultivator before. Oh, it's like this. Yu Clan has a person called Yu Yangji, do you know him? Ning Cheng's tone carried a hint of pressure. Yu Yijing frowned. He could see that Ning Cheng's origin was not ordinary. Yu Yangji was not an important figure. As long as one could find someone from the Yu Clan, one could easily inquire about him. Thinking of this, Yu Yijing spoke up. I know him. He has made great contributions to the clan, and has a strong talent in refining talismans. He is a master in refining talismans for my Yu Clan. What's wrong? Do you know Yu Yangji? Yu Yangji had just advanced to the domain realm, and had not even reached the celestial novice realm. Moreover, he had been nurtured by the clan because of his contributions. How could this celestial gatherer cultivator know Yu Yangji? Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. I just casually inquired about him. He owes me something. After saying that, Ning Cheng turned around and walked away. Looking at Ning Cheng's back, Yu Yijing felt that the person who had just spoken did not have any good intentions. The immortal Jade Star was the closest to the Grand Culmination Starry Skies, and also belonged to the Grand Culmination Starry Skies. The Void airship flew for only 2 days before reaching the periphery of the immortal Jade Star. All the cultivators on the airship, including Ning Cheng, could see a faint earthy yellow planet with their spiritual consciousness. There were also many powerful array formation auras outside the planet, most likely a star-protecting grand array arranged by some powerhouses. Culmination Starland's Void airship was the first to reach the periphery of the immortal Jade Star. However, the Void airship did not have to wait for long before 3 similar Void airships arrived one after another, and stopped at the periphery of the immortal Jade Star. Ning Cheng guessed that these should be the Void airships from the other 3 Grand Starry Skies. From the looks of it, more than 100,000 cultivators had entered the immortal Jade Star. Among more than 100,000 people, there was only one Starry Sky Wheel. From this, one could tell how difficult it was to grab the Starry Sky Wheel. Ning Cheng and the others did not have to wait for long before the Void airship's restrictions completely opened, allowing the vast Starry Sky aura to seep in. Chuan Xinluo's voice came from a distance. My Grand Culmination Starry Skies, please enter the immortal Jade Star. I wish every cultivator who enters the immortal Jade Star good luck. With Chuan Xinluo's voice, the tens of thousands of people on the Void airship rushed out. Ning Cheng also mixed in with the many cultivators and rushed towards the immortal Jade Star. At the same time, he also noticed that it was not only the Grand Culmination Starry Skies airship, but also the other 3 giant airships with tens of thousands of cultivators rushing out. This was a star that no humans had set foot on yet. Anyone who stepped on it first would have the greatest opportunity. At this moment, there was no need for any words. As every cultivator rushed towards the immortal Jade Star in a frenzy, Ning Cheng did not activate the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, nor did he bring out a starry sky battleship. He just stepped on an ordinary flying sword and followed the many cultivators into the immortal Jade Star's star-protecting grand array. Breaking through the layers of clouds, in just over half an hour, Ning Cheng finally stepped onto the surface of the immortal Jade Star. At this time, the surrounding cultivators dispersed, and in just a short time, Ning Cheng no longer had any trace of any cultivators around him. This was a planet with an earthy yellow color. However, the surface of this earthy yellow color was covered with patches of green. The first thing that caught his eyes were some starry sky spiritual grasses, and some ordinary wild beasts running around. The cultivators who entered the immortal Jade Star first wanted to grab the resources of the immortal Jade Star. Ning Cheng also did not stay in the same place. Of course, he wanted to grab the resources of the immortal Jade Star. However, before he could grab it, he had to remove the surveillance on him. After half an incense stick worth of time, Ningqing managed to open up a cave in a relatively desolate place. Entering the cave, Ningqing immediately took out the jade card and used his spiritual consciousness to repeatedly search the jade card. However, to Ningqing's disappointment, even after searching for nearly an hour, he could not find any spiritual consciousness imprint on the jade card that could monitor him. Ningqing put down the jade card and began to search his body. After another hour, Ningqing found a vague spiritual consciousness imprint on the edge of his wrist. Ningqing thought to himself, sure enough, this spiritual consciousness imprint was not carved on the jade card as Chuan Xinluo had said. Or rather, it was carved on the jade card. However, once one entered the immortal jade star with this jade card, the spiritual consciousness imprint would automatically transfer to one's body. Ningqing did not touch this spiritual consciousness imprint, and continued to use his spiritual consciousness to search his body. This was his advantage. He had the starry sky sea of consciousness, which allowed him to find spiritual consciousness imprints that other cultivators in the undead realm could not. Another half a day passed by. Just when Ningqing thought that there was only one spiritual consciousness imprint on the edge of his wrist, he found another spiritual consciousness imprint. This spiritual consciousness imprint was on his soles. Ningqing felt sure that this spiritual consciousness imprint did not come from the jade card but from the void airship. Although he stood on the void airship, the imprint on the void airship had penetrated into his soles, yet he did not notice it at all. Ningqing cursed in his heart, stripped off all his clothes and continued to search for the spiritual consciousness imprint. Another day passed by. After Ningqing determined that there were no other spiritual consciousness imprints on his body, he wrapped the two imprints at the same time and threw out a clump of celestial river flame to completely destroy the two imprints. After burning off all his clothes and changing into a new set of clothes, Ningqing finally felt relieved. Others would start collecting resources the moment they entered the immortal jade star, while he spent a day and a half searching for the spiritual consciousness imprint. Ningqing also knew that once he destroyed the two imprints, the people outside would immediately know about it. However, it did not matter to him at all. Even if someone killed him, it would still be the same if someone burned it with fire. Who knew if it was him who destroyed it, or someone else? Without the imprint on his body, Ningqing repeatedly sealed the jade card with a restriction, before rushing out of the temporary immortal cave, and began to look for the things he wanted. Chapter 602. Ningqing released the exploding golden wasp king, graceful star, from the miniature world. The exploding golden wasp king, under Ningqing's relentless feeding, had already grown to more than 3 feet long and had a pale golden body. The wasp king grew rapidly, and by this time, it had already reached the level of a starry sky demonic beast. Go, try to improve your cultivation as much as possible. If you want to eat anything, don't hold back. This planet is ownerless. Ningqing raised his hand and threw out the exploding golden wasp king. The wasp king, graceful star, could definitely find the best advancement treasures on this ownerless planet. This was much better than feeding it perpetual moon pills and starry sky crystals. Graceful Star gave out a joyful shriek. It had long since grown tired of staying in the miniature world, but its master did not let it out. It could not do anything about it. Now that Ningqing let go, it screeched and instantly flapped its wings before disappearing without a trace. Ningqing did not worry about the exploding golden wasp king going far. No matter how far Graceful Star went, he could always know its location. After Graceful Star left, Ningqing began to frantically collect all kinds of spiritual grasses. As long as it was a starry sky spiritual grasses, he did not care about the grade and collected them all. The low-level medicinal pills that he refined were of no use to him, but he could give them to the exploding golden wasp king. Although many cultivators came to the immortal jade star, there were even more things inside. It was just like hundreds of thousands of people searching for something on Earth. Although it looked like a lot of people, it was not that many if they were scattered across the entire planet. The immortal jade star was many times larger than Earth, but with hundreds of thousands of people possessing spiritual consciousness, it was naturally not something that ordinary people could compare to. Ningqing wore the miniature world ring on his hand, while piles of spiritual grasses were stacked inside the ring by Ningcheng. Over the next few days, Ningcheng did not feel any origin aura, nor did he meet a single cultivator. It seemed that after hundreds of thousands of cultivators entered the immortal Jade Star, he was the only one left. On this day, Ningcheng had just finished sweeping through a spiritual grass hill when Aurora arrived. Before Ningcheng could sweep out with his spiritual consciousness, a giant black bull rushed over. A flame burned on the bull's tail, and the bull frantically tried to escape. It did not seem to notice anyone in front of it at all. Ningcheng raised his hand and blasted out a punch, causing the giant bull to rush forward crazily. However, when Ningcheng's fist force-bound it, it was already too late to retreat. Bang! With a muffled sound, a grade 3 starry sky demonic beast was sent flying by Ningcheng's punch and fell to the ground. Ningcheng looked at his own fists, and was secretly pleasantly surprised in his heart. He had not fought with others for a long time. As such, he did not know to what extent his own strength had reached. Ningcheng did not expect that he could kill a grade 3 starry sky demonic beast with a single punch. From this, one could tell that his punch far surpassed any ordinary celestial gatherer cultivator. Without continuing to pay attention to the giant bull that he had just blasted to the ground, Ningcheng wanted to turn around and leave. A grade 3 starry sky demonic beast, it didn't matter if he wanted it or not. However, after taking a few steps, he turned back to look at the huge black bull, and walked back again. At the same time, he threw out the praying mat from his ring. Little Chase, this is a wind-seeking longevity bull. Can you see if you can use the corporeal body of this bull? After Ningcheng finished, he raised his hand and extinguished the flames on the bull's tail. This bull looked like a wind-seeking longevity bull to him, but in fact, Ningcheng himself was not sure. A vague shadow of a bull's head emerged from the praying mat. As soon as this shadow came out, it immediately called out, "Master, I want to take over a human's corporeal body. I heard that a human's corporeal body is the most suitable for cultivation. This ugly bull even burned its tail. It doesn't match my image. Don't even dream about it. If you don't want it, then forget about it. You won't get the chance next time. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance." Ningcheng already knew that this wind-seeking longevity bull's life essence was a top-notch idiot, so he did not even bother with politeness. Don't I want it, okay? It's just that if I want to occupy this corporeal body, I will need a heavenly cusp flower, and some perpetual moon pills. The wind-seeking longevity bull's life essence on hearing Ningcheng's threat quickly changed its words. It had long since grown tired of staying inside the praying mat. If it did not seize the opportunity now, then it would be difficult to find another opportunity in the future. Ningcheng also happened to have a heavenly cusp flower. Originally, he planned to use it for something else, but now that he no longer needed it, he simply gave the heavenly cusp flower and a ring containing perpetual moon pills to the wind-seeking longevity bull's life essence. Hurry up, I don't have much time to wait for you. How could the wind-seeking longevity bull not utter even half a word? It immediately rolled up the ring and the heavenly cusp flower, and disappeared into the black bull's body on the ground. Ningcheng sat on a rock and sorted out the spiritual grasses in the ring while waiting for Little Chase to finish fusing with the corporeal body. 2 hours passed by quickly, and Ningcheng could feel Little Chase's excitement. He guessed that the fusion with the corporeal body should be coming soon. Moreover, this corporeal body should also be quite good. Otherwise, it would not have shown such excitement. Just at this moment, another shadow darted over quickly. Ningcheng glanced at this shadow, and did not even stand up. A celestial gatherer cultivator, he did not put it in his eyes. This shadow unexpectedly stopped not far from Ningcheng. It was a slender man. He wore a starry sky scarf over his head and a purple jade gourd tied around his waist, giving him an incomparably elegant appearance. His gaze only glanced at Ningcheng before falling on the black bull's body, and his eyes flashed with joy. "Friend, this bull is my prey. After I injured it, it used an escape technique to escape. I only managed to catch up to it here." As the man spoke, he raised his hand to grab the black bull. Ningcheng simultaneously shot out a wind edge, and stood up with a calm expression. "Did your master teach you to snatch things like this?" The man felt suppressed by Ningcheng's wind edge, and had to retract his hand. He stared at Ning Cheng with a frown and spoke. This friend, this is indeed my prey. I used a fireball to burn half of this bull's tail. I think you should know about it, right? I am Qian Yu, a disciple of the Spirit Heaven Starland's Locking Heart sect. I need this bull's hide to make a message-type weapon. I ask this friend to bend the rules. If you need any compensation, I am willing to come up with some of it. Apparently, this man could see that Ning Cheng's wind edge was not simple. Just a single wind edge made him feel threatened. In any case, Ning Cheng would not give this wind-seeking longevity bull to the other party. Now that little chase was in the process of fusing with the life essence, how could he give this wind-seeking longevity bull to others? It was just that he found it strange that this wind-seeking longevity bull was only a grade 3 starry sky demonic beast. A grade 3 starry sky demonic beast could be bought in any makeshift market. What did this fellow want? Although feeling puzzled in his heart, Ning Cheng gave a cold snort and spoke. I was wondering how my mount got injured. It turns out that you were the one who injured it. Well, since you're here, then compensate me for my mount before you leave. Haha. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, Qian Yu suddenly laughed. I have seen arrogant people, but I have never seen anyone as arrogant as you. Do you think that I, Qian Yu, am afraid of you? Just as Qian Yu laughed, a few more streaks of light landed on the periphery of the two. Senior apprentice Brother Qian. Elder Brother Qian. The few people who came over were both men and women. However, these people seemed to be from Qian Yu's group, and immediately greeted Qian Yu. Elder Brother Qian, this bull has already been killed. Why didn't you take it away? A short cultivator glanced at the wind-seeking longevity bull on the ground, and spoke to Qian Yu with cupped fists. In his eyes, Ning Cheng was like air. Qian Yu pointed to Ning Cheng and spoke. This man said that this bull was his mount. I injured his bull, and he wanted me to compensate him before leaving. It seems that no one has ever heard of my name, Qian Yu, after leaving the Spirit Heaven Starland. At this moment, Qian Yu no longer had the slightest trace of kindness. As he spoke, killing intent overflowed from his body, causing the surrounding space to sizzle. Then what are you talking about? Kill this ant. I don't know where he came from, but he doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. A female cultivator glanced at Ning Cheng with disdain and spoke. Is Qian Yu that great? I've never heard of you. Another voice arrived, and a purple-robed cultivator also landed. It turns out to be Brother Zhong from the Grand Demon Domain Starry Sky. Although Brother Zhong has never heard of this younger brother's name, this younger brother knows that Brother Zhong is famous. Is it because Brother Zhong has never heard of this Qian Yu's name that you want to distort black and white? Qian Yu did not get angry with the purple-robed cultivator's words and spoke slowly. The purple-robed cultivator paused, apparently not expecting Qian Yu to say such words. Just when he wanted to ridicule Qian Yu again, the giant black bull on the ground suddenly got up and ran to Ning Cheng's side in a few steps. After the black bull got up and came to Ning Cheng's side, it raised its front hoof and pointed at Qian Yu before speaking arrogantly. Kid, you just plotted against your grandpa Little Chaser. This grandpa Little Chaser will remember this. One day, this grandpa Little Chaser will turn you into a stew and chew your bones. After saying that, the black bull turned to Ning Cheng and spoke with a flattering tone. Master, this kid secretly plotted against me with fire and burned half of my precious bull tail. Master, you have to uphold justice for me. The few people present at the scene felt stunned. It was not difficult for Starry Sky demonic beasts to speak, and one only needed a medicinal pill to refine the hyoid bone. What made the few people stunned was that this bull really was the cultivator's mount. Ning Cheng snickered in his heart. He did not expect this top-quality bull to fuse with its essence spirit so quickly. The purple-robed cultivator laughed and spoke. I, Zhong Sunhong, finally got to know Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Sky's Qian Yu. Powerful, powerful. You even managed to injure other people's mounts. The purple-robed cultivator laughed and brought out a flight-type weapon before quickly disappearing. From this, it could be seen that he came here to ridicule Qian Yu and had no intention of helping Ning Cheng. Qian Yu's eyes flashed with anger before he looked at Ning Cheng and spoke with an unfriendly tone. I've taken a fancy to your mount, name a price. My master has also taken a fancy to your head, cut it off and give it to me. Not waiting for Ningcheng to speak, the black bull opened its mouth again. Ningcheng naturally did not speak. In front of Chuan Xinluo he had no ability. Now that a celestial gatherer cultivator dared to act arrogantly in front of him, why would he speak any nonsense? He leaped forward and punched out with his fist. The violent axe fist's killing intent instantly combined with Ningcheng's celestial river domain to bind the surroundings, causing axe lines to appear out of thin air. Qian Yu's domain fully stretched out, and he could feel a trace of axe intent penetrating into his bone marrow. What a powerful celestial gatherer cultivator! Qian Yu's expression changed. The moment Ningcheng attacked, he realized that he had underestimated this celestial gatherer cultivator. He had heard of all the celestial gatherer powerhouses from the several grand starry skies. However, he had never heard of this powerful cultivator in front of him. Chapter 603. Qian Yu no longer cared about maintaining his cool posture, and the gourd at his waist erupted with a circle of purple light, which instantly formed a spiral vortex. Boom! A dull celestial essence explosion erupted, and Ningcheng's axe fist slammed into the purple vortex, causing a huge gully to appear in the open space. Qian Yu retreated dozens of meters and crashed into a huge ancient tree, breaking it in half. Only then did he stumble to a stop. At this time, not to mention Qian Yu, even the several cultivators who came with Qian Yu stared at Ningcheng in shock. Although Qian Yu had reacted in a hurry, Qian Yu's strength was well known among the celestial scryer cultivators of the spirit heaven Starland. Yet even with such strength, a single punch sent him flying. What kind of strength did the opposite party possess? Ningcheng stared at Qian Yu coldly, and did not step forward to continue. If he wanted to kill Qian Yu, he would have already killed him. Although Qian Yu was strong, he was not on the same level as him. If he wanted to kill Qian Yu, then he would also kill the several cultivators who came with Qian Yu. Ningcheng was decisive in killing, and did not want to kill 4 people because of this matter. It was my fault just now. Goodbye. Qian Yu finally calmed down from the horror, and spoke to Ningcheng with cupped fists. He felt sure that this celestial gatherer cultivator in front of him, even the spirit heaven Starland's premier celestial scryer cultivator, Ho Fangke, would not be this person's opponent. If he continued to stay here, it would only be courting death. Want to leave? My master's words, are you deaf? You burned this Grandpa Chase's tail, and you still want to leave? Not waiting for Ningcheng to speak, Little Chase once again stretched out its hoof and shouted. After scolding, it turned its head and spoke to Ningcheng in a flattering tone. Master, do you want them to compensate us a little, or do you want to stew them for a meal? Ningcheng looked at this bull speechlessly, wondering how this fellow should be a bull? It should be a dog, a vicious dog that saw the wind and set the helm. It reminded him of Grey Toot Toot, who stood by Rulan's side. Grey Toot Toot looked like a dog, unlike this bull. It's not my fault. Qian Yu, on the other hand, took out a ring and gave it to Ningcheng. Friend, please take a look at these spiritual grasses and other materials. The things inside are the things that I obtained in the past few days. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness swept out before he nodded and spoke. In that case, please. Qian Yu did not even bother to say a single word to Ningcheng, and just waved to the others. Let's go. The few of them quickly disappeared from this place. Senior brother Qian, are we just going to let this matter go? The short cultivator spoke out in a somewhat unhappy tone. Although he was shocked by Ningcheng's strength, he did not feel happy in his heart. Qian Yu sneered. Forget it? If I don't kill this person, how can I just let it go? You guys can leave first. I have some matters to attend to. We'll contact each other again after I'm done with them. After saying that, Qian Yu changed direction and quickly disappeared without a trace. What happened to Big Brother Qian? The female cultivator looked at Qian Yu's disappearing back in doubt. The few of them had agreed to form a team, but because of a small matter, Qian Yu had left the team alone. The cultivator, who had not spoken until now, gave out a sigh and spoke. He went into seclusion to attack the Celestial Bridge Realm. After he advances to the Celestial Bridge Realm, he will definitely come back. A little ant, yet still dared to look for my master. You really overestimate yourself. Even if Qian Yu and the others had already left, the wind-seeking longevity bull still ridiculed them with disdain. Ningqing stared at the wind-seeking longevity bull and frowned. He felt that this bull was a bit strange. Master, I think the name Little Chase does not match my image. I want to follow my master and have some prestige. I can't let my master lose face. Should I change my name to Grandpa Chase? The wind-seeking longevity bull scolded Qianyu and the others, before it immediately turned around and spoke to Ningcheng with a flattering tone. Ningcheng snorted. Do you want me to call you Ancestor Chase? Only then did the bull understand that although the name he came up with was very awe-inspiring to others, it was very disrespectful to his master. He quickly said, No, I suddenly feel that the name Grandpa Jue is not good. How about I call myself Little Jue? Otherwise, Jue Feng sounds very nice too. Since you don't think Little Chase is good, then let's call you Chasing Bull. Don't be so long-winded. Ningqing felt too lazy to talk nonsense with this bull. Chasing Bull immediately nodded and spoke. Master is indeed master. Even changing my name to a single word, it still sounds good. I'm really lucky to be able to follow my master. When you followed your last master, weren't you also very lucky? Ningqing did not want to say these words, but he really felt defeated by this stupid bull. Chasing Bull quickly spoke up. How can it be the same? How can my former master compare to my master? It's like the distance between heaven and earth. That fellow was an idiot. Otherwise, how could he not come out of the sea of twilight? Only when I met my master did I become a good bull. As soon as Ningqing heard it, he immediately knew that this stupid bull was not an extremely loyal fellow. It was completely a person who saw the wind and set the helm. A person who was shameless and servile. To be honest, Ningqing didn't like this kind of bull. Chasing Bull also understood the situation. Seeing Ningqing's displeasure, it immediately stopped talking. Ningqing walked to Chasing Bull's side and suddenly asked, That Qianyu isn't an ignorant person. Why would he care about a grade 3 starry sky demonic beast? Isn't the corporeal body you seized a bit strange? When Chasing Bull heard Ningqing's words, it understood that its master had seen through the problem. It immediately patted its chest and spoke up. Master's insight really is clear at a glance, wise and decisive. Slap. Ningqing slapped the wind-seeking longevity bull's head and spoke. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up. Chasing Bull didn't dare to continue talking. Master, this corporeal body belongs to a wind-seeking heavenly bull. It is a heavenly spirit beast. Once it grows up, it would become extremely powerful. Its most powerful spirit techniques are teleportation and escape techniques. I didn't expect such a spirit beast to exist on this small planet. The biggest weakness of the wind-seeking heavenly bull is that it can easily be seized before it grows up. However, this kind of spirit beast can only seize a body once. That Qianyu must have chased after this wind-seeking heavenly bull to seize its body. Unfortunately, this kid's ability is not good enough, which made it easy for this Grandpa Jue. Wind-seeking heavenly bull? Ningqing also lamented that he had learned too little. Even this stupid bull knew something, yet he didn't know about it. He guessed that Qianyu didn't snatch the wind-seeking heavenly bull for himself, but for his companion beast. Ningqing naturally didn't know that the reason why this wind-seeking longevity bull knew that it had seized the body of the wind-seeking heavenly bull was because of the spiritual consciousness fusion. Before the possession, it had no idea about it, just like Ningqing. Sigh. Ningqing looked at this stupid bull and sighed. It's a pity that you occupied this wind-seeking heavenly bull's corporeal body. It's just a reckless waste of natural resources, like a tortoise eating barley. Chasing Bull didn't feel ashamed at all. Instead, it spoke up with pride. It's my luck, and it's all thanks to my master. Even if I, Chasing Bull, achieve more, I will still be my master's mount. Ningqing ignored Chasing Bull and turned around to leave. He knew that as long as you paid attention to this bull, it would have endless words to say. Chasing Bull, on seeing Ningqing turn around and leave, quickly followed behind. It secretly felt proud in its heart, thinking that its master was truly too smart for his own good. With such a good mount, he actually forgot to ride it. However, Ningqing had just taken a few steps when he suddenly changed directions. Stimulating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, he rushed forward at the fastest speed. He finally felt another trace of the origin aura. The immortal jade star really did contain an origin. This matter turned out to be true. Ning Cheng had only flown for an incense stick worth of time when he felt something wrong. He wasn't the only one who felt the origin aura. His spiritual consciousness swept out and found countless cultivators flocking to the same place. Unexpectedly, so many cultivators could feel the origin aura, which caused Ning Cheng's heart to sink. Even among so many cultivators, he felt confident that he could grab the origin. But in case another cultivator with an advantage in speed snatched it away, what would he do? The importance of origin to him was extraordinary. Master, there must be a treasure here. With so many people flocking to it, it must be a big treasure. Chasing Bull's speed didn't slow down. Every time Ning Cheng fell, this fellow would immediately appear by Ning Cheng's side. Chasing Bull, your speed isn't bad. Ning Cheng felt a little surprised and praised it. Chasing Bull spoke up proudly. That's nothing. It's not even my full speed. My main skills are escape techniques and flying through the air. That's right. Since you're so fast, why am I still flying on my own? As Ning Cheng spoke, he landed on Chasing Bull's back. He didn't sit down but stood on the bull's back. Chasing Bull realized that its bragging wasn't very good and subconsciously slowed down. Just a moment ago, it felt proud that its master wasn't riding on its back. But in a blink of an eye, its master was already standing on its back. Why is my speed slowing down? If I don't have speed, then it would be useless. I might as well go back and peel off its skin and stew it. I haven't eaten a wind-seeking heavenly bull yet. I wonder how it tastes? Ning Cheng spoke while taking in a deep breath, seemingly savoring the taste of the wind-seeking heavenly bull's meat. The wind-seeking heavenly bull doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good at all. Master, think about it. With the wind-seeking heavenly bull's speed, it definitely wouldn't be able to bite through its meat. As Chasing Bull spoke, its speed suddenly accelerated and quickly surpassed many cultivators. What kind of demonic beast is this? How can it be so fast? It's a good companion beast and it has amazing speed. It's nothing much. It's just a wind-seeking longevity bull. Wind-seeking longevity bulls excel in speed, but a black wind-seeking longevity bull is rare. Some cultivators on seeing the bull's speed couldn't help but exclaim out loud. Chasing Bull rushed all the way, leaving many cultivators behind, which made Ning Cheng feel very satisfied. At least this stupid bull wasn't completely useless. Hey, the cultivator standing on the bull's back, wait. A powerful spiritual consciousness swept over Ning Cheng, and a voice called out from a distance. When this spiritual consciousness swept over Ning Cheng, he felt a slight chill run down his spine. This definitely wasn't the spiritual consciousness of a celestial gatherer cultivator. No matter how powerful a celestial gatherer cultivator was, their spiritual consciousness couldn't even suppress his body, which meant that this person was a celestial bridge cultivator. Chapter 604. Even if a celestial bridge cultivator wanted him to stop, Ning Cheng simply ignored it. He still let Chasing Bull move in the direction of the origin aura. This celestial bridge cultivator's aura fluctuated between strong and weak. Apparently, he had just advanced to the celestial bridge realm, and had not even stabilized his cultivation. He had already killed a celestial bridge powerhouse when he was in the celestial shatterer realm. Now that he had reached the full circle of the celestial gatherer realm, and his spirit techniques had also improved by the day, how could he fear someone who had just advanced to the celestial bridge realm? Seeing Ning Cheng, a celestial gatherer cultivator, ignoring him, this celestial bridge cultivator turned furious. His coercion spread out, suppressing Ning Cheng, while at the same time increasing his speed. Sensing the formidable coercion, the surrounding cultivators all took a big detour to avoid this troublesome place. In just a short time, there were no other cultivators in the vicinity. Ning Cheng stopped and took out a middle-grade Dao artifact long spear from his ring, which he had crafted himself. You've got guts. Did I call you out just now? Are you deaf? Leave behind your mount and your ring, and then fuck off. After Ning Cheng stopped, this celestial bridge cultivator instantly arrived in front of Ning Cheng. The murderous intent spread out along with this sentence, and the dead leaves around Ningcheng slowly rolled up under the imposing aura of this celestial bridge cultivator, forming a vortex that completely enveloped Ningcheng. Ningcheng did not even speak half a word of nonsense and brought out the long spear in his hand. A faint spear trace tore through the space between the two, and in a blink of an eye, it tore through the killing intent vortex of this celestial bridge cultivator, while a powerful spear intent wrapped around this celestial bridge cultivator. The reason why Ningcheng did not hesitate to attack was that Ningcheng understood from the words of this celestial bridge cultivator. Even if he handed over everything to this celestial bridge cultivator, the other party would still kill him, courting death. Seeing Ningcheng daring to take the initiative to attack, this celestial bridge cultivator turned furious. It felt as if an ant had challenged his dignity. In his opinion, after hearing his words, this celestial gatherer ant should have taken the initiative to do as he said. Violent celestial essence roared out, causing his robes to rustle. The domain of the celestial bridge cultivator stretched out, wanting to suppress Ningcheng completely. He then reached out and grabbed Ningcheng like a chicken, wanting to ask this ant where did he get the courage from? Unfortunately, his idea of crushing his opponent was good, but compared to his idea, his strength was worlds apart. When the celestial bridge cultivator's domain and Ningcheng's domain collided, not only did it not gain the slightest advantage, it even tore apart layer by layer. A terrifying heat erupted, and Ningcheng's long spear had already cut through space and arrived in front of this celestial bridge cultivator. Bang! The celestial bridge cultivator no longer dared to reach out to grab Ningcheng. Instead, he punched out at Ningcheng's spear tip. With the sound of flesh and bones bursting apart, the fist of this celestial bridge cultivator shattered under Ningcheng's spear. The moment the celestial bridge cultivator's fist exploded, the celestial essence imposing aura around his body erupted once again. Ningcheng's celestial river domain, which held the upper hand, also cracked open, and the celestial bridge cultivator instantly escaped. Standing a few dozen feet away, he stared at Ningcheng in horror. Good. This celestial bridge cultivator, facing a single move from a celestial gatherer realm cultivator, and even ended up injured, his complexion immediately turned ugly. While shouting good, he also flew out. You want to leave? Ningcheng gave a snort, as he stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, while the long spear in his hand once again shot out a flame-patterned spear shadow. Nothingness flame-patterned spear. This spear was derived from Ningcheng's axe line. After the spear aura was unleashed, it would sweep up streaks of void spear fire patterns. As his spear's aura took shape, more and more fire patterns appeared. Twin heavenly cloud wings. This celestial bridge cultivator had only flown back a few hundred meters when he saw Ningcheng once again appearing in front of him. Not only that, the fire-patterned spear tore apart the domain around him like a rag. Stop! The celestial bridge cultivator turned completely terrified. He crazily brought out his iron rod-type magical weapon and screamed in his heart. What kind of celestial gatherer cultivator was this? How could there be such a perverted celestial gatherer cultivator? He really regretted it. How could a cultivator who dared to stand on the back of a bull and run like the wind be simple? He had taken a fancy to that cow, but he had not thought of this. How could Ningcheng stop? Not only did he not stop, but he also crazily poured out his celestial essence. Ka-ka-ka-ka. The nothingness flame-patterned spear's spear lines completely tore apart the celestial bridge cultivator's domain before it slammed into the iron rod, giving off a series of ka-ka sounds. Poof! The celestial bridge cultivator spat out a mouthful of blood and flew back once again. However, his iron rod had also managed to block Ningcheng's killing move. Ningcheng understood that if this celestial bridge cultivator had not been in a hurry to escape, his move would have at most forced the other party to take a few steps back. It would not have such an effect. Celestial bridge cultivators truly were much more powerful compared to celestial gatherer cultivators. Bang! The celestial bridge cultivator was sent flying by Ningcheng for the second time, and once again hit a boulder. Covered in blood, he spoke up in a trembling voice. Friend, please show mercy. I'm Chong Zijin from Culmination Starland's Spiritual Heaven Sect. It's not like I can't spare you. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Chong Zizhen immediately felt surprised. If Ning Cheng wanted to continue, he would have used his forbidden technique. Even if he could not kill the other party, he could at least let the other party breathe a few breaths before he died. Now that Ning Cheng said that it was not like he couldn't spare him, Chong Zizhen immediately felt a desire to live. However, I want to try my nerve knife. Ning Cheng called the spiritual consciousness knife as a nerve knife. Before Chong Zizhen could react, he felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness, followed by a spear shadow appearing in front of him. If you can escape this time, I will spare you. As Ning Cheng spoke, Chong Zizhen's sea of consciousness turned black, and the terrifying pain made him unable to roll up his iron rod. The next moment, he heard the sound of the long spear piercing through his dantian. Not to mention blocking this move, he could not even put up a slight resistance. What a powerful nerve knife, that was his last thought. A knife that could pierce through his sea of consciousness, how could it not be powerful? Ning Cheng picked up the Celestial Bridge Cultivator's ring, and threw a fireball at it before stepping onto Chasing Bull, and leaving in a flash. Thinking back to the difficult battle with the Yu Clan's Celestial Bridge Cultivator, Ning Cheng truly felt his progress. The difference between the Celestial Gatherer realm and the Celestial Bridge realm was not a small one. However, he had managed to kill a Celestial Bridge Cultivator with a crushing momentum, while still in the Celestial Gatherer realm. Of course, this Celestial Bridge Cultivator had just advanced and his cultivation was not stable. Moreover, he had also underestimated him. However, even if this Celestial Bridge Cultivator used his full strength to fight him, Ning Cheng felt confident that he could easily kill this person. When Ning Cheng rushed up on Chasing Bull, some of the cultivators who knew Ning Cheng took the initiative to make way for him. They knew that this cultivator had been stopped by a Celestial Bridge powerhouse, and now that the Celestial Bridge powerhouse had disappeared, this cultivator was still safe and sound. No one wanted to face such a person. As more and more people gathered, the origin aura grew thicker and thicker. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng and the other cultivators arrived at a bright yellow plain. Rather than calling it a plain, it looked more like a yellow lake. Because this was indeed a lake. However, this lake was not sunken, but slightly protruding. Spiritual consciousness could not sweep into this yellow sand lake, and one could only look at it with their eyes. The lake was filled with yellow sand, and the cracks on the sand were like spider webs. The entire yellow sand lake was hundreds of feet in size, and in the center of this yellow sand lake, a bead suspended in the air, exuding a pale yellow color. Earth Origin Bead. Ning Cheng felt shocked. He had obtained the Water Origin Bead and the Fire Origin Bead, but this was the first time he saw the Earth Origin Bead. Seeing the Earth Origin Bead, Ning Cheng almost rushed into the lake. However, he thought about it. Since so many people had not entered, this bead would not be easy to obtain. Ning Cheng still had doubts when another group of cultivators arrived. Among them, a few cultivators who had just arrived rushed into the yellow lake without even thinking about it. The people around them could clearly see these cultivators rushing into the yellow sand lake. However, they only took a dozen steps before their bodies slowly turned stiff, and then slumped to the ground. In just a few breaths' time, the cultivators had completely turned into yellow sand and fused with the yellow lake, disappearing without a trace. Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. What a powerful law! This powerful earth-attributed assimilation law would turn everything into mud. Fortunately, he did not enter the lake. Ning Cheng, like many other cultivators, could only look at the Earth Origin Bead with greedy eyes. As more and more cultivators came over, more and more people rushed in and turned into mud. However, the Earth Origin Bead remained standing in the same place, motionless. The Earth Origin Bead was extremely important to any cultivator. Even if the cultivator did not have an Earth-attributed main spiritual root, the Earth and Wood Origin Beads were still extremely important. However, for Ning Cheng, the Earth Origin Bead was not important. It was something that he had to obtain. Standing by the yellow sand lake, Ning Cheng thought of countless ways to obtain the Earth Origin Bead, but none of them could help him obtain it. Ning Cheng had experienced the first level of the laws of Earth in the 9x9 Celestial Scryer Tower, but compared to this yellow sand lake, that level was like a sunny avenue. If wealth could move people's hearts, then this earth origin bead could attract any cultivator to snatch it. Once someone obtained this origin bead, as long as no one found it, they would become an overlord in the future. Some of the cultivators who could not hold back their impulses tried to bring out defensive weapons before slowly approaching the earth origin bead. These cultivators had a good idea. As long as they sensed danger, they would immediately retreat. Unfortunately, after these cultivators entered, none of them could retreat. Not a single one of them was able to retreat. No matter how powerful their defensive treasures were, they were still turned into a pile of dirt in the end. Ningqing secretly shook his head. Since he could not use his spiritual consciousness, it would be strange if he brought out a weapon to enter. As time slowly passed, some of the cultivators finally gave out a long sigh and turned to leave the yellow sand lake. Although there were still cultivators coming over, more and more cultivators were leaving. Ningqing did not leave, nor did he go in. The earth origin bead was right in front of him. If he just left like this, he would not feel reconciled. Chapter 605. Time passed day by day. During this period, some cultivators who were not afraid of death kept trying to enter the yellow sand lake. However, once they entered the yellow sand lake, no one was able to approach the earthen bead suspended at the center of the lake. Rather than quenching thirst by admiring the plum blossoms here, it would be better to go somewhere else to look for spiritual herbs. Moreover, even if he obtained the earth origin bead, so what? Would he be able to protect himself if he went out? The cultivators who understood this quickly left. Ningqing still did not leave. He sat in a corner of the yellowish-brown lake and continuously slashed out with his spiritual consciousness blades. Coupled with the fact that his spiritual consciousness had a certain penetrative power towards the spiritual consciousness shielding restriction, he soon discovered that his spiritual consciousness blades had a certain effect on the spiritual consciousness shackles here. However, after chopping for a while, he had to stop and recover his spiritual consciousness. Otherwise, his sea of consciousness would be too exhausted. However, once his spiritual consciousness blades split open the surrounding spiritual consciousness shackles, he could then bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Once he had the protection of the everlasting Blue Thunder City, maybe he could really block the assimilation of the Yellow Sand Lake's earth-attributed laws. If he wanted to split open the spiritual consciousness shackles of the Yellow Sand Lake and use the everlasting Blue Thunder City to protect himself, then his spiritual consciousness would have to grow stronger. His starry sky sea of consciousness was already far stronger than ordinary cultivators, so how could he make his spiritual consciousness even stronger? Ningqing sat in the distance and thought about it for a long time before standing up. Although he wanted to double the strength of his spiritual consciousness, the prerequisite was that he had to advance to the Celestial Bridge Realm. To advance to the Celestial Bridge Realm, Ningqing needed the harmonizing celestial pill. However, it was impossible to obtain the harmonizing celestial pill in the immortal Jade Star. As such, he could only rely on himself to perform alchemy. Since entering the immortal Jade Star, Ningqing had obtained the most spiritual grasses. To refine the harmonizing celestial pill, he first had to become a grade 4 celestial river pill king. Moreover, he was now only a step away from becoming a grade 3 celestial pill master. With his mysterious yellow formless cultivation method and the many starry sky spiritual grasses, it was not impossible for him to become a grade 4 celestial river pill king. Thinking of these, Ningqing, who was originally sitting on the lakeside, stood up. He planned to leave this place. Rather than being envious of the fish in the pond, it was better to retreat and form a net. Ningqing secretly left a concealed monitoring array disc at the lakeside and quickly left. He was also worried that someone would snatch away the earth origin bead while he was away. Many cultivators left the Yellow Sand Lake, and many people came over. This place seemed to be always surrounded by people. In the newly opened hidden immortal cave, Ningqing, who originally wanted to refine a pill furnace, suddenly grabbed a rusty furnace. This was something that he had found when he was looking for materials for an alchemy furnace. This furnace was originally from the Angry Axe Valley. When he had fought with the Guiyu Hall, he had won this furnace. Ningqing felt that this furnace was quite good. He had tried to refine it a few times before, but unfortunately, his spiritual consciousness could not penetrate it at all. Recently, he had been so busy refining weapons and improving his cultivation that he had completely forgotten about this furnace. Now that he saw the stove again, he remembered. Ordinary pill furnaces had 3 legs, but this pill furnace had 5 legs. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness penetrated into the furnace, but unlike before, this time his spiritual consciousness unexpectedly did not encounter even the slightest bit of obstruction, as it easily penetrated into the rusty pill furnace. As Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness began to refine the pill furnace, the rust stains on the outside of the pill furnace automatically fell off, and soon its original color appeared. This was a very inconspicuous light gray pill furnace. If this pill furnace was not refined by oneself, and was casually thrown on the side of the road, no one would notice it at all. The more Ning Cheng refined this pill furnace, the more he felt that this pill furnace was different. At the very least, he could not refine a pill furnace of this grade. Ning Cheng originally planned to start refining pills quickly, but it ended up taking him half a month to refine this pill furnace. With a crisp sound coming from the pill furnace, the entire structure and shape of the pill furnace appeared in Ning Cheng's mind. Moreover, this pill furnace had a name, and the furnace name was Traceless. After refining the Traceless pill furnace, Ning Cheng could not wait to take out some starry sky spirit grasses and start refining pills. What surprised Ning Cheng even more was that he could only refine grade 2 celestial pills, but with this pill furnace he could easily refine grade 3 celestial pills and become a grade 3 celestial pill master. This made Ning Cheng understand that he had long since become a grade 3 celestial pill master. It was just that the grade of his original pill furnace was too low. Not only that, but Ning Cheng's speed in refining pills had also increased by a lot. Ning Cheng could now refine 2 batches of medicinal pills out of the time it took to refine a batch of medicinal pills. Ning Cheng continued to refine piles of starry sky spirit grasses and turned them into piles of celestial-grade medicinal pills. A month later, the starry sky spirit grasses around Ning Cheng had reduced by half, while the medicinal pill bottles around him were piled up one after another. On this day, as Ning Cheng refined a batch of high-quality grade 4 celestial river medicinal pills, the celestial miasma pill, he realized that he had truly advanced to the level of a grade 4 celestial river pill king. This was the first time that his level of alchemy had exceeded his cultivation realm. Previously, whenever he wanted to advance to the next level, he would need to purchase some medicinal pills. But in the future, as long as he could keep his level of alchemy consistent with his cultivation, he would no longer need to buy medicinal pills from others. 3 days later, Ning Cheng took out the essence harmonizing celestial fruits. He wanted to refine the harmonizing celestial pill. The harmonizing celestial pill was a grade 4 celestial river medicinal pill, and Ning Cheng was now a grade 4 celestial river pill king. As such, refining the harmonizing celestial pill did not pose any pressure. The only drawback was that his celestial river flame was on the low side. Fortunately, the celestial river flame was very powerful. Although it was on the low side, with Ning Cheng's powerful starry sky sea of consciousness and celestial essence, it did not have much of an impact. Under the control of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, the starry sky spirit grasses quickly fused, separated, and condensed. If someone used their spiritual consciousness to spy on Ning Cheng's pill furnace, they would be shocked to find that Ning Cheng did not use any pill arts for alchemy. Ning Cheng had never systematically studied alchemy with others. As such, he did not know the importance of pill arts. He only knew that he had a pill art, and his pill art constantly changed along with his alchemy. It was just like his cultivation method, which could change at any time. This change was called formless. As Ning Cheng refined more and more medicinal pills, he found that he did not need to use any pill arts. Instead, he could use his starry sky sea of consciousness to shape the medicinal pills according to his will. Basically, as long as he could refine the first batch of medicinal pills, he would not fail again. Moreover, they would all be top-quality medicinal pills. In just half an incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng brought out a batch of 12 medicinal pills and placed them inside a jade bottle. 12 harmonizing celestial pills, 12 top-quality harmonizing celestial pills. Even if he could easily refine the harmonizing celestial pill, Ningqing still clenched the jade bottle in excitement. Refining the harmonizing celestial pill meant that he was about to advance to the celestial bridge realm. Once he advanced to the celestial bridge realm, it meant that he had a chance to obtain the Earth origin bead. At the mouth of a canyon millions of miles away from Ningqing, a huge exploding golden wasp king stood at the entrance of the canyon. Around this exploding golden wasp king were dozens of smaller exploding golden wasps. Outside the canyon, hundreds of cultivators surrounded this exploding golden wasp king. I know you're an exploding golden wasp king. As long as you give me the soul contract and recognize me as your master, I promise that you'll be fine today. The one who spoke was a cultivator in white robes with 3 distinct celestial wheels behind him, indicating that he was a powerhouse. Not waiting for the exploding golden wasp king to act, a purple-robed cultivator next to him laughed and spoke. Nongjiu, do you think wearing white robes makes you whiter than others? There are more than 100 people here, and the exploding golden wasp king can recognize whoever it wants as its master. You're not special. If you don't believe me, you can ask your other friends. The white-robed cultivator's expression changed and spoke in a cold voice. Zhong Sunhong, you're from the demon domain. What kind of companion beast do you not have? Why do you want to compete with me for the exploding golden wasp king? The purple-robed cultivator spoke up with disdain. Everyone wants the exploding golden wasp king. You're not the only one. The white-robed cultivator seemed to fear the purple-robed Zhong Sunhong. Although Zhong Suanhong's words were not pleasant to hear, he still did not turn hostile and spoke up in a deep voice. Then we'll have to rely on our own abilities. Whoever can make the exploding golden wasp king recognize him as its master, the exploding golden wasp king will belong to that person. Good, although it's not possible to make this exploding golden wasp king recognize you as its master, it's not a bad idea to give it a try. Zhong Sunhong was also straightforward and directly agreed with the white-robed cultivator, Nongjiu's words. While Zhong Sunhong and Nongjiu fought with each other, the cultivators nearby whispered to each other. I heard that the exploding golden wasp king recognizes its master when it's still in its egg. Once it breaks out of its shell, it would be difficult to recognize its master, or rather, impossible. That's because your cultivation is not high enough. As long as your cultivation far surpasses the exploding golden wasp king, the exploding golden wasp king can still recognize you as its master through a soul contract. However, a soul contract is very difficult to recognize, and the exploding golden wasp king is not afraid of death. Although it's difficult, it doesn't mean that it's impossible. When we attack the exploding golden wasp king, I'll also take action. Thinking about bringing a swarm of exploding golden wasps around, I'm full of expectations. I don't want the exploding golden wasps. I just want to enter this canyon and have a look. There must be some good things inside. The exploding golden wasp king can't block a place for no reason. Yes, I have the same idea as you. I just want to enter this canyon. With Nongjiu taking the lead, hundreds of cultivators brought out their weapons and attacked the exploding golden wasp king. Seeing the exploding golden wasp king attacked, the exploding golden wasps around the exploding golden wasp king immediately rushed into the crowd. However, dozens of exploding golden wasps still fell short compared to more than 100 celestial gatherer cultivators. Not only was there a huge difference in numbers, but there was also a huge disparity in cultivation. Only a few exploding golden wasps could reach Starry Sky Grade 3 or above. Exploding golden wasps continued to die, and from the dozens of exploding golden wasps, only a dozen remained. However, only one celestial gatherer cultivator died. If not for these cultivators wanting to keep the exploding golden wasp king alive, it would have already died. Ningqing found an empty place and prepared to advance to the celestial bridge realm. With a lot of perpetual moon pills and 100 or 200 harmonizing celestial pills, if he could not advance to the celestial bridge realm, then he could only sell a piece of tofu and use it to hit his head. After checking the surrounding terrain, Ningqing took out the array flags and planned to arrange a spiritual gathering array and a defensive array. Ningqing immediately felt that the exploding golden wasp king, graceful star, was under attack and in imminent danger. Ningqing felt anger rising in his heart. Someone actually dared to attack his companion beast, It was simply courting death. Activating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, Ningqing instantly disappeared from the place where he was about to cross the tribulation. Chapter 606. No, this exploding golden wasp king already has a master. You can see that it is constantly sending out messages to inform its master. The exploding golden wasp continued to send out messages, which some cultivators had already noticed. Nongjiu spoke up with disdain. It's best if it has a master. Once its master is summoned, kill the fellow who doesn't deserve to own the exploding golden wasp. The exploding golden wasp would have no choice but to recognize its master. As I said, I will not intervene in the things in the canyon. I only want the exploding golden wasp. This fellow owns the exploding golden wasp, so he must have a lot of treasures on him. It doesn't matter if the exploding golden wasp does not recognize me as its master. Wait for the things on that cultivator's body, I will share them with you. Ah! When Ningqing arrived, he saw more than 100 celestial gatherer cultivators besieging his exploding golden wasp king, Graceful Star. There were 7 or 8 injured exploding golden wasps next to the wasp king, Graceful Star, and dozens of exploding golden wasps' corpses on the ground. Ningqing guessed that these exploding golden wasps should be the companions that Graceful Star found in this place. However, with so many celestial gatherer cultivators besieging his companion beast, how could Ningqing hold back his anger? It was not a matter of who was right or wrong. Since someone attacked his companion beast, how could he let it go? Bringing out the long spear in his hand, Ningqing rolled up a blazing spear trace. The first move he made was the void flame patterned spear. Poof poof poof. Under Ningqing's sneak attack, 7 or 8 celestial gatherer cultivators immediately suffered serious injuries, with 3 of them falling on the spot. No one thought that Ningqing would immediately attack, let alone kill them. In their view, Ningqing came here to snatch the exploding golden wasps. How could they have thought that he would attack them from behind? Kill him. Seeing Ningqing come here alone and kill without even asking Qing Hong, it immediately angered the cultivators here. In an instant, dozens of people rushed towards Ningqing and bombarded Ningqing with attacks. The Wasp King, Graceful Star, was in imminent danger. At this moment, how could Ningqing show any mercy? Rushing into the crowd, Ningqing rolled up a blazing aura that swept through the entire space. Maximal Flame Spiritual Technique. Ningqing rarely used this spiritual technique after advancing to the Celestial Novice Realm. However, with so many cultivators besieging him today, he had no choice but to use this spiritual technique. All the cultivators, dragged in by Ningqing, felt as if the surrounding space had completely collapsed in an instant. In this collapsed space, it was like a whirlpool, and the whole person was about to be sucked into this whirlpool. Moreover, this whirlpool had a kind of heat, and this heat was getting stronger and stronger. This is spatial collapse, it's the law of space. Hurry up and get out of the way. There was no lack of knowledgeable cultivators among the cultivators. Upon seeing this, they immediately shouted, "No, this isn't the law of space. It's a false collapse caused by absorbing the fire element in space." Whether it was a real space collapse or a fake one, everyone knew that as long as they were sucked into it, they would be doomed. At this time, the cultivators here no longer cared about fighting Ningqing, and immediately started to escape. No matter what, he had to escape this crisis first. Since Ningqing chose the Maximal Flame Spiritual Technique, how could he let the cultivators involved escape? At the same time, his Celestial River domain fully cooperated with the Maximal Flame Spirit Technique, and stretched out. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions rang out, erupting with a terrifying temperature. Under these violent explosions, it felt as if the space in this area had completely disappeared. After a few screams, a 10-foot-long gully appeared in front of everyone. Of the more than 20 cultivators caught in Ningqing's attack, more than half of them had fallen, while a few of them were either seriously injured or couldn't even escape. Before the crowd could see clearly, Ningqing had already arrived at the entrance of the canyon. With a harsh chirp, Wasp King Graceful Star landed beside Ningqing, followed by the remaining 7 or 8 injured exploding golden wasps behind Wasp King Graceful Star. At this time, Even a fool understood why Ningqing had attacked. It turned out that this exploding golden wasp king truly had a master, and the master even came. Since they attacked the exploding golden wasp king, it would be strange if the master did not feel angry. Haha, good skills, you actually killed Qianyu. Zhong Sunhong looked at Ningqing and laughed. You really have a lot of companion beasts. I saw a black bull before, and now I see an exploding golden wasp king. Are you also from my demon domain Starry Sky? He thought that Ningqing had killed Qianyu, but he did not know that Ningqing did not kill Qianyu. Instead, he let Qianyu escape. Who killed my exploding golden wasps? Come out! Ningqing ignored Zhong Sunhong and glanced at the rest of the cultivators. Although there were more than 70 people here, Ningqing did not feel any fear. Apart from Zhong Sunhong's laughter, all the cultivators here remained silent. No one spoke. Everyone had seen Ningqing's power just now. After killing nearly 20 people, not to mention injuries, not even a single wrinkle could be seen on his clothes. No one wanted to fight against such a powerhouse. Sorry, I didn't know that the exploding golden wasps belonged to you, so I killed one of your exploding golden wasps. This is my compensation. Goodbye. Zhong Sunhong threw a storage ring to Ningqing before turning around and flying out. Seeing Zhong Sunhong turn around and leave, Nongjio's expression turned ugly. He did not expect the master of the exploding golden wasp king to be such a powerful fellow. He had also seen Ningqing's power a moment ago. If it was a one-on-one fight, he estimated that he would not be Ningqing's opponent. However, Zhong Sunhong, this coward, turned around and left. Zhong Sunhong turned around and left, followed by a few more people. Obviously, no one wanted to fight against a ruthless person like Ningqing. Moreover, the immortal Jade Star had many good things. Staying here and risking their lives without unity was something only a fool would do. As these people left, Ningqing did not chase after them. After all, he was only one person. What do you say? Nongjio looked back at the 30 or 40 people who stayed behind and asked in a deep voice. If no one wanted to fight, he would rather compensate them and leave. If there was someone here who wanted to get rid of this arrogant brat like him, then he would definitely not hold back. Although he could not beat the other party alone, there were 30 or 40 people here. If everyone worked together, he did not believe that they could not beat a celestial gatherer cultivator. What do you say? This person is so arrogant. He killed a dozen of our people the moment he arrived. If we just let him go, it would be too easy for him. A robust male cultivator gave a cold snort. Nongjio felt happy in his heart and immediately spoke up. Then let's do it together. We have 30 or 40 people. Why would we fear a puny celestial gatherer cultivator? Let's go. While speaking, Nongjio brought out the weapon in his hand. Seeing Nongjio take action, the other 30 or so people immediately brought out their weapons. Everyone knew that to kill this cultivator, they had to work together. This time, Ningqing directly brought out the everlasting blue thunderfort. At the same time, his long spear drew a shadowless spear arc and shot towards Nongjio. He could see that Nongjio had the highest cultivation here. As long as he killed Nongjio, the other cultivators would not be worth mentioning. Boom boom. Kaka. The might of the everlasting blue thunder city could be seen at a glance at this moment. As the lights from the magical weapons bombarded the everlasting blue thunder city, it caused the semi-real shadow of the everlasting blue thunder city to give out ka-ka sounds. However, none of the attacks managed to land on Ningqing. By this time, Ningqing's long spear had already cut through the distance between him and Nongjio and locked onto the white-robed cultivator. Nongjio felt the killing power of the spear intent seeping into his domain, and immediately realized that something bad had happened. He never thought that Ningqing would dare to target him alone, completely ignoring the other attacks. Was this not courting death? What he did not know was that no matter who had a defensive weapon like Ningqing, they could completely ignore the other attacks. As the killing power of the spear intent seeped into Nongjio's domain, Nongjio frantically retreated. He had to avoid this move first. As long as he avoided this move, the other party would be at an absolute disadvantage. Although the opponent's half-real shadow of the blue thunder fort was powerful, no matter how powerful it was It could not block the joint attack of more than 30 Celestial Gatherer cultivators. Gotcha. The everlasting blue thunder fort's shadow completely shattered. Nonggyo had not guessed wrong. The rest of the attacks from the magical weapons finally fell onto Ningcheng's body, without missing a single one. Blood splashed out, and Nonggyo could even hear the sound of bones breaking. He knew that this cultivator was seriously injured, but he did not feel happy at all. His domain completely collapsed at this moment, and an even more powerful domain bound him. At the same time, the killing intent from the spear intent that permeated his bone marrow grew even stronger. Poof! Nonggyo's body was finally locked down by the Celestial River domain and the spear intent. But in that moment of sluggishness, Ningcheng's spear tip pierced through his glabella. Nonggyo looked at the spear handle in front of him sluggishly, his heart filled with unwillingness. Where did this cultivator come from, and why had he never heard of him before? Under the siege of more than 30 people, this fellow still managed to kill him with a single spear strike? The cultivators besieging Ningcheng felt a little sluggish the moment they saw Ningcheng kill Nonggyo. But at this moment, Ningcheng completely ignored his injuries, and once again slashed out with the spear in his hand. A spear trace with a fiery aura instantly cut through a distance of a few hundred feet behind him. And around this fiery spear trace, a spear trace stretched out one after another. This nothingness flame-patterned spear trace was almost the same as his axe trace. Poof poof poof. As Ningcheng's spear grew stronger and stronger, a bloody mist filled the space around him. In just a blink of an eye, nearly 10 people once again died under the fiery spear traces. The exploding golden wasps on the side, on seeing someone get injured, once again rushed up. Nonggyo died, and Ningcheng's spear at the back was so powerful that the remaining cultivators no longer wanted to stay here and fight against Ningcheng. In just a flash, they all flew out and disappeared without a trace. If they could obtain treasures by staying here, then they might have been willing to stay here. Staying here would only result in a meaningless fight against a powerhouse. They were not fools to continue staying here. Ningcheng's long spear fell to the ground and stabilized his swaying body. He then took out a few medicinal pills and swallowed them. None of the cultivators who entered the immortal Jade Star were weak. If more than 30 ordinary Celestial Gatherer cultivators besieged him, even if he ended up injured, he would not have suffered such serious injuries. Moreover, it was because he was a body-forging cultivator. Otherwise, he would have suffered even more serious injuries. With his injuries slightly healed, Ningcheng raised his hand and put away a few rings. Since these cultivators could stay in this place for such a long time, their rings were definitely not bad. Although the injuries were not light, it was still worth it for Ningcheng. He had also gained a lot. Not bad. In just a few months, you managed to reach Starry Sky Grade 2. Ningcheng threw a ring full of medicinal pills to Graceful Star, and praised him. The exploding golden wasp king Graceful Star could advance to Starry Sky Grade 2 demonic beast in just a few months. In addition to the rich resources of the immortal Jade Star, the potential of the exploding golden wasp king was also very strong. The exploding golden wasp king sent out a joyful message. At the same time, it also told Ningcheng that there was a large number of exploding golden wasps in this canyon. However, there was also an exploding golden wasp king in this canyon. Therefore, it had to kill this exploding golden wasp king before it could let the rest of the exploding golden wasps follow it. Ningcheng suddenly understood why Graceful Star chose to stay here. Chapter 607. At this time, outside the immortal Jade Star, in addition to the 4 huge void airships of the 4 grand starry skies, there were many more small ships. In the middle of these ships, someone had even built a large starry sky public square. This starry sky public square had a variety of shops, which apparently catered to the cultivators entering the immortal Jade Star. Once these cultivators came out of the immortal Jade Star, they would definitely bring out a lot of starry sky spirit grasses and materials, and even some rare treasures. Most of the cultivators would sell their gains in this place. A little further away, a gray-black airship floated in the air. The color of this airship was almost the same as the surrounding starry skies. If one did not look closely, one would not even notice it. At this time, Inside the luxurious cabin of this airship, a huge array formation display screen stood on one of the cabin walls. 4 men sat in the room, staring at the huge array formation display screen. If Ningcheng were here, he would have at least recognized one of them, Heavenly Emperor-leveled Heart, the middle-aged Confucian scholar. In addition to the middle-aged Confucian scholar, there was also a young and beautiful woman. If it wasn't for her phoenix eyes that were too intimidating, she would be a perfect woman. Unfortunately, although this pair of eyes was awe-inspiring, it added a trace of coldness and sharpness to this woman. She did not have the gentleness that women had. This woman was the premier of the Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Skies, Yi Jiufeng. Cultivators familiar with this woman knew that this woman was originally called Yi Jiuhuang. However, after she advanced to the Eternal Realm, she changed her name to Yi Jiufeng. There were 2 other people. One was a long-bearded old man with a dark face. His name was Qiao Jierui, the strongest powerhouse from the Devil Domain. The other was a strong and muscular man with a bare upper body, looking like a barbarian. However, no one dared to underestimate this person. He was the strongest powerhouse from the Demon Domain, Zhangkong Tianji. The array formation display that the 4 people were looking at only showed a single yellow sand lake. This yellow sand lake had a lot of cultivators surrounding it, with a bead suspended in the middle. This was the location where the immortal Jade Star's Earth origin bead would appear. The cultivators around the yellow sand lake probably did not know that their every move was being closely watched. Previously, there was a cultivator standing on the back of the origin bead lake. That cultivator then left. That black bull doesn't seem simple. After Devil Domain's old man Qiao Jierui finished speaking, he looked at Demon Domain's expert Zhangkong Tianji. Even he could see that this black bull was not as simple as it seemed, and Zhangkong Tianji had already seen it. Not waiting for Zhangkong Tianji to answer, Yi Jiufeng raised her phoenix eyes. What's not simple about it? Even an idiot can see that it is a real spirit beast, the wind-seeking heavenly bull. I didn't expect that the immortal Jade Star would have this kind of spirit beast. As for the cultivator standing on the god beast, I don't think I saw him coming from that starry sky. We cannot say for sure that this wind-seeking heavenly bull came from the immortal Jade Star. It is also possible that this cultivator brought it with him. Didn't you see that this wind-seeking heavenly bull has already become his beast companion? As for that cultivator, I'm sure he's disguised himself. Zhangkong Tianji said flatly. After a pause, Zhangkong Tianji added, besides, we have not found many things in the immortal Jade Star. Do you know where the starry sky wheel is? Do you know where the wind thunder apricot tree is? Chuan Xinlo nodded. Yes, he should have changed his appearance. Since this cultivator could subdue the wind-seeking heavenly bull, he must not be a simple person. He also left behind a monitoring array disk before he left. Presumably, he would come back again. Brother-leveled heart, do you think that the junior with the good fortune treasure would appear in the immortal Jade Star? Zhangkong Tianji seemed to be more polite to Chuan Xinlo than to Yi Jiufeng. Chuan Xinlo pondered for a moment. It's hard to say. Even after a few months, no one has gone in to collect the Earth origin bead. Moreover, no special cultivator has come close to it. It really feels strange. According to reason, the Earth origin bead would only appear because a good fortune treasure appeared in this place. As such, the person with the good fortune treasure would definitely know about it. Since he knows about it, he would definitely try his best to take away the Earth origin bead. Maybe he entered the immortal Jade Star but got delayed by something else. Qiao Jierui showed a smile. Brother-leveled heart, the immortal Jade Star is the closest to the culmination starland. Therefore, the kid with the good fortune treasure most likely came from the culmination starland. Last time, I heard that a cultivator called Jiangzhou's Wanderer from the culmination starland reached the 81st floor of the 9x9 celestial scryer tower. Many people said that he did not come down, which made me a little confused. Hearing Qiao Jierui's words, Yi Jiufeng and Zhangkong Tianji also looked at Chuan Xinlo with a strange expression. Chuan Xinlo showed a smile and spoke without any abnormalities on his face. Does Brother Qiao think that I took away that Jiangzhou's Wanderer and suspect that the good fortune treasure is on that Jiangzhou's Wanderer? Qiao Jierui spoke with a fake smile. I did not say that. Chuan Xinlo nodded. It's no wonder that Brother Qiao has doubts. I also suspect that the good fortune treasure is on that wanderer. After all, he is the only one who managed to reach the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower. As far as I know, to reach the 81st floor, one must have a certain understanding of the laws of space, and even the laws of time. Moreover, the other party is just a Celestial Scryer cultivator, which is obviously beyond our expectations. If he had a good fortune treasure, then it would explain everything. However, Brother Qiao seems to have forgotten that the four of us made a blood sacrifice oath. The good fortune treasure belongs to the four of us. Unless the four of us reach an agreement one day, it will never change. Could it be that Brother Qiao does not remember our oath? Although I, Chuan Xinluo, am unworthy, I will not take my blood oath as a joke. Zhangkong Tianji quickly showed a smile. What Brother Leveled Heart said is correct. I have never doubted Brother Leveled Heart. I heard that a fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe appeared in Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City. I don't know if Brother Leveled Heart has gone to check it out. Although Zhangkong Tianji said that he trusted Chuan Xinluo on the surface, the fact was that a fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe had already appeared in Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City. Chuan Xinluo showed a slight smile and didn't even bother to answer. Yi Jiufeng suddenly spoke up. Do you think that the Earth origin bead appeared because of the fragment of the indestructible axe? Chuan Xinluo did not have the slightest intention to avoid suspicion and spoke with a flat tone. A fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe cannot trigger the appearance of the Earth origin bead. I'm sure that a complete good fortune treasure has appeared. Ning Cheng, along with the exploding golden wasp king Graceful Star, had already left the entrance of the canyon. He wanted to find a group of helpers for his exploding golden wasp king, so he would not go in at this time. He was about to advance to the Celestial Bridge realm. Even if he wanted to go in, he would have to wait until he advanced to the Celestial Bridge realm. On an open plain, Ning Cheng arranged a huge spiritual gathering array, along with several defensive array formations and shielding array formations. He then took out the praying mat he obtained from the Time Wilderness and sat down. Ning Cheng threw out a pile of perpetual moon pills and swallowed a harmonizing celestial pill. Under the operation of the mysterious yellow formless, rich celestial essence immediately formed one essence chi whirlpool after another around Ning Cheng. Even Graceful Star and Chasing Bull, who stood guard around Ning Cheng, quickly absorbed the rich starry sky essence chi. If not for the shielding array formations, Ning Cheng would have already been discovered by others with such a big movement. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's attainments in array formations far surpassed the cultivators here. Although the shielding array formations he arranged could not completely eliminate the starry sky essence chi fluctuations, it would at least prevent people from flocking over. At this time, the celestial essence fluctuations in Ning Cheng's body had already reached a limit. Coupled with the ignition of the harmonizing celestial pill, the celestial essence fluctuations turned even more violent. The violent starry sky essence chi fluctuations flooded through all of Ning Cheng's meridians. Soon, Ning Cheng found that his meridians had reached a certain level of toughness. Even if the celestial essence fluctuations doubled in strength, they would not be able to tear apart his meridians. This made Ning Cheng feel relieved and swallowed 2 more harmonizing celestial pills. Sure enough, as the harmonizing celestial pills continued to burn, the celestial essence within Ning Cheng's body grew even crazier. This time, not only did it impact his meridians, but it also impacted his sea of consciousness. Ning Cheng grew even more delighted. This was the first time that his sea of consciousness had experienced such an impact before advancing. Only by experiencing such an impact would one obtain a greater harvest. Otherwise, although his sea of consciousness would grow a lot stronger after advancing, it would not undergo a qualitative change. Now that the violent celestial essence aura had a place to vent, Ning Cheng no longer had any scruples. In order to let his sea of consciousness experience a powerful advancement, he poured the entire bottle of harmonizing celestial pills into his mouth. Boom. This time, Ning Cheng felt as if he had ignited a dynamite warehouse. A horrifying celestial essence burning power erupted from Ning Cheng's body. His meridians started to tear apart inch by inch, and cracks started to appear. Even his starry sky sea of consciousness started to feel extreme pain. Ningqing felt horrified. Only then did he understand that this harmonizing celestial pill did not double the effect. Instead, once the quantity reached a certain level, it would undergo a qualitative change. The medicinal efficacies of the harmonizing celestial pill were already violent enough, but there were still many more perpetual moon pills around him. These perpetual moon pills also started to burn under Ningqing's mysterious yellow formless. This pure starry sky essence qi poured into Ningqing's body like it was free. However, this was not the end. The praying mat he sat on also started to provide him with a large amount of rich starry sky essence qi. At this moment, Ningqing felt as if he was about to explode. Not only did his clothes start to tear apart, but even the area around him started to crack apart. After his clothes started to tear apart, his skin started to slowly show traces of blood. Ningqing's forehead started to sweat profusely. No one had reminded him to do something stupid. If he couldn't hold on, he might have been the first cultivator to explode under the effects of the harmonizing celestial pill. There should have been a lot of cultivators who ended up exploding under the effects of medicinal pills. However, exploding under the effects of the harmonizing celestial pill was just too ridiculous. Just how precious was the harmonizing celestial pill? Just one of them already cost a fortune. Who would be stupid enough to explode under the effects of the harmonizing celestial pill? The mysterious yellow formless crazily revolved the heavenly circulation technique. At this moment, his formless cultivation method acted like a huge millstone, grinding away a large amount of starry sky essence qi. However, even so, it still couldn't consume all the terrifying celestial essence at once. Moreover, this terrifying celestial essence kept growing stronger and stronger. At this moment, Ningqing suddenly felt a barrier blocking his cultivation. With a roar, he stimulated the celestial essence that was on the verge of exploding. Chapter 608. Boom! A loud explosion erupted, followed by darkness above Ningqing's head. This was not Ningqing breaking through the cultivation barrier, but a terrifying thunder tribulation. Ka. At the same time, a faint sound that only Ningqing could feel rang out from within his body. At this moment, Ningqing realized that he had opened a crack in the cultivation barrier to the celestial bridge realm. Not waiting for Ningqing to rejoice, 36 thick lightning arcs descended. Boom boom boom. Lightning arcs continuously bombarded Ningqing's body, causing his flesh and blood to splatter out. Ningqing deliberately did not bring out the everlasting blue thunder city, because he wanted to use these lightning arcs to quench his body and will. At the same time, he also had a thunder-attributed spiritual root, which would help him absorb the thunder source. Kaka. Just the first wave of the thunder tribulation had caused Ningqing's bones to shatter inch by inch, causing his flesh and blood to splatter out. Although his body forging had reached the rank 9 god body, this thunder tribulation in the celestial bridge realm was several levels more powerful than a rank 9 god body. This kind of power was not something he could withstand. Ningqing knelt on one knee on the ground, covered in blood. He still did not bring out the blue thunder city. For the sake of body forging, he had suffered much more pain and suffering than this, but he had endured it all. Now that he could not even survive the first wave of the thunder tribulation, how could he rush out of this place? How could he search for the gate of good fortune with Songwei? What's more, at this moment, his body was bursting with powerful essence qi. Although the thunder tribulation had left him scarred, it had also eased the expansion of essence qi in his body to a certain extent. Enduring the tearing pain of his broken bones, Ningqing stimulated the still violent celestial essence within his body, and once again attacked the cultivation barrier to the celestial bridge realm. Boom. The first wave of the thunder tribulation had not yet passed, and the remaining lightning arcs had yet to dissipate from Ningqing's body when the second wave of the thunder tribulation descended. Looking at the imposing manner, it looked like there would be at least 36 lightning arcs. Ningqing gritted his teeth, but still did not bring out the everlasting blue thunder city. Instead, he crazily pushed his celestial essence towards the cultivation barrier to the celestial bridge realm. The subtle caw-caw sounds within his body finally converged into a torrent. It felt as if a primal chaos had opened up, and a feeling of extreme ease flooded Ning Cheng's heart. That incomparably violent celestial essence, at this moment, finally found a vent. At this moment, whether it was the intensity of Ning Cheng's celestial essence, the toughness of his meridians, or even his starry sky sea of consciousness, all of them started to grow crazily. Boom boom boom. The second wave of thunder tribulation arcs finally descended. This wave of thunder tribulation arcs was much thicker than the first wave of thunder tribulation arcs, without any interval, fell onto Ning Cheng's body. However, at this time, Ning Cheng not only did not suffer any more serious injuries, but the injuries that he had originally suffered were also rapidly recovering. At this moment, the harmonizing celestial pills berserk celestial essence force, the perpetual moon pills terrifying burning essence chi, and the thunder spiritual source that fell on Ning Cheng's body, and was absorbed by Ning Cheng. All of these caused Ning Cheng's cultivation to rapidly increase. Even if Ning Cheng's cultivation speed had always been very fast, he had never experienced such a terrifying rate of progress in his cultivation. His cultivation base was soaring, his injuries were disappearing, and his sea of wisdom was expanding. As soon as this wave of thunder tribulation passed, Ning Cheng was able to stand up. Millions of perpetual moon pills burned around him, forming a pill mist. Just as Ning Cheng's cultivation rose, the third wave of thunder tribulation descended. Ning Cheng did not bring out the everlasting blue Thunder City for the first and second waves of thunder tribulation. As such, for this third wave of thunder tribulation, he would not bring out the everlasting blue Thunder City. Unfortunately, he did not know how the body forging cultivation method would work, and he could not use his mysterious yellow formless to deduce it. Otherwise, this thunder tribulation would have definitely helped him in his body forging. Ning Cheng surmounted the tribulation amidst the crazy thunder arcs, while chasing Bull and Graceful Star, who stood in the distance to protect Ning Cheng, felt stunned. Chasing Bull, on the other hand, felt even more stunned. It had seen too many people surmounting tribulations. It had also seen Celestial Bridge Realm thunder tribulations, but when had it ever seen such a powerful thunder tribulation? In the face of this thunder tribulation, ordinary Celestial Bridge cultivators might not even survive the first wave of thunder arcs. Master's thunder tribulation is very powerful. It's almost the same as a heaven-seated realm thunder tribulation. Chasing Bull smacked its lips and spoke. After saying that, it remembered that this exploding golden wasp king could not speak. It could not help but look at the exploding golden wasp king with contempt. I say, Graceful Star, you have to speed up your cultivation. You can't even speak now. If you follow Master in the future, you will only bring shame to Master's face. Do you know that? The exploding golden wasp king had been absorbing the overflowing perpetual moon pills pill chi for cultivation. But because Ning Cheng's thunder tribulation was too terrifying, it immediately attracted its attention. Now that a stupid bull dared to say that it would bring shame to Master's face, it immediately spread its wings and issued a terrifying chi-chi sound from its mouth. The powerful Wasp King's imposing manner instantly pressed down on Chasing Bull. Seeing the exploding golden Wasp King angry, the exploding golden wasps following behind the exploding golden Wasp King immediately surrounded Chasing Bull in the middle. Each exploding golden wasp let out a sharp chi-chi sound. Elder brother, I was just joking. Can't you make a joke? You're too stingy. You win, this Grandpa Bull will let you. Facing the exploding golden wasp king's anger, Chasing Bull immediately turned timid and quickly retreated dozens of steps, giving way to the side. At the same time, it swore in its heart that after Master finished surmounting the tribulation, it would definitely teach this little wasp a lesson. Ning Cheng looked up at the gradually clearing sky and knew that the thunder tribulation had finally passed. Finally, the rich essence chi fell, causing the little injuries on him to disappear without a trace. After a few dirt removal techniques, Ning Cheng changed into a new set of robes and swept out with his spiritual consciousness. The surroundings instantly cleared up, and his starry sky sea of consciousness also gained a higher level. At this moment, Ningcheng felt that he could easily kill a celestial gatherer cultivator with a single spiritual consciousness blade. Wasn't this powerful celestial essence several times stronger than before? The celestial river domain had also become more solid, and the space it covered had also grown wider. Was this the celestial bridge realm? An inexplicable sense of self-confidence welled up in his heart. Sure enough, only with greater strength would one have greater self-confidence. Although he had advanced to the celestial bridge realm, he still did not have a celestial wheel. However, Ningcheng did not care about celestial wheels at this moment. With a flash of his thoughts, 3 vague celestial wheels appeared behind him. He wanted to head to the yellow sand lake to snatch the mysterious yellow bead. Making people think that he was only a celestial gatherer cultivator would have a better effect. Before heading to the yellow sand lake, he had to find a group of thugs for Graceful Star. Master, congratulations on stepping into the celestial river realm and becoming a celestial bridge powerhouse. Seeing Ningcheng put away the spiritual gathering array and come out, Chasing Bull immediately came up to Ningcheng and flattered him. Ningcheng had just advanced to the celestial bridge realm and was in a good mood. Therefore, he did not feel that Chasing Bull's flattery was harsh to the ears. Instead, he nodded with some pride. When Master was surmounting the tribulation, I felt very worried and anxious. I didn't even dare to blink for even a moment. However, Graceful Star only cared about cultivation and didn't care about Master's safety at all. Seeing Ningcheng in a good mood, Chasing Bull immediately complained. Ningcheng flew over and landed on Bull's back mountain. Is there any use in being anxious? The sooner you become like Graceful Star, the more important thing is to improve your strength. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and go to the valley where Graceful Star stayed before. We'll go and kill the other exploding golden wasp king. Yes, Master. Chasing Bull lowered its head and replied in a weak voice. If it had known that it would end up kissing the horse's leg, it would not have acted so insensibly. Once again, Ningcheng arrived outside the valley where the exploding golden wasp king, Graceful Star, stayed. The valley was full of potholes, indicating that a great battle had taken place here. Wait a minute, I'll check out the situation first. Ningcheng stopped Graceful Star and Chasing Bull from rushing in. He had personally witnessed the power of the exploding golden wasps. The exploding golden wasps had almost destroyed the rootless Black City, but he had managed to lure the exploding golden wasps away. Moreover, the exploding golden wasps in that place were all low-leveled starry sky demonic beasts. Moreover, the exploding golden wasps on the immortal Jade Star were obviously not low-leveled demonic beasts. Therefore, Ningcheng had to be cautious. In case he ended up surrounded by the exploding golden wasps, it would turn out to be a disaster. After all, his twin wings of the heavenly clouds could not be considered as a true teleportation. Instead, he needed space to escape. He did have a breaking boundary talisman, but it was a life-saving item. He did not want to waste it casually. After advancing to the celestial bridge realm, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness had grown much stronger compared to when he was in the celestial gatherer realm. Moreover, his starry sky sea of consciousness had also grown even more boundless. Previously, when he used his spiritual consciousness to probe inside, he could only see a blur inside the valley. But now, his spiritual consciousness could easily penetrate through the blur, and he could see a stretch of continuous cliffs. The scene in front of him caused Ningcheng to feel sluggish. How was this an exploding golden wasp swarm? It was more like a kingdom of exploding golden wasps. Each cliff was surrounded by exploding golden wasps. Layer upon layer, one couldn't even tell how many there were. Even if one of the exploding golden wasps flew out, Ningcheng could tell that it was at least a starry sky grade 3. Moreover, these exploding golden wasps even contained starry sky grade 4 and starry sky grade 5 wasps. From this, Ningcheng understood that the exploding golden wasp king was most likely a starry sky grade 7 demonic beast. If he brought Chasing Bull and Graceful Star inside without asking any questions, it would simply be courting death. Ningcheng frowned and looked back at Graceful Star behind him before speaking up with dissatisfaction. Even the worst exploding golden wasps here are at least starry sky grade 3. The few of us wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. You haven't even investigated the situation clearly, yet you want to snatch the throne of this place. You're simply courting death. Graceful Star truly hadn't investigated the situation clearly. He had just arrived here when he saw some scattered exploding golden wasps. Therefore, he decided to gather these exploding golden wasps together. However, before he could enter and occupy the throne of the Wasp King, a group of cultivators stopped him. If I had known this earlier, I would have let those 100 or so cultivators go in and make a fortune. Watching these cultivators surrounded by swarms of exploding golden wasps, it would have been more interesting. Ning Cheng sighed. He had blocked the entrance to the valley for a long time, but it turned out that he had saved those people's lives. It truly made him depressed. However, it was also thanks to these fellows. If not for these fellows stopping Graceful Star would have also rushed in. From this, one could imagine that an exploding golden wasp king with small arms and legs like Graceful Star would definitely die if it entered the exploding golden wasp kingdom. At this moment, the exploding golden wasp swarm seemed to have discovered Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness and started to stir. A swarm of exploding golden wasps immediately rushed out. Graceful Star, enter the miniature world. Chasing Bull, head to the yellow sand lake immediately. Seeing the exploding golden wasp swarm alarmed, Ning Cheng quickly put away Graceful Star and stepped onto Chasing Bull. In just a few breaths, they had already left this place. Chapter 609. Ning Cheng had left in time. As such, the exploding golden wasps did not notice Ning Cheng. Otherwise, with the exploding golden wasp's nature, they would have definitely caught up to him. Ning Cheng had come to the Yellow Soil Lake a few months ago, but this time he had not arrived yet, when his spiritual consciousness swept out and found that the Yellow Soil Lake was still crowded with cultivators. From this, it could be seen that no one could refuse the attraction of the Earth Origin bead. Ning Cheng had already advanced to the Celestial Bridge realm. As such, Chasing Bull became even more arrogant, and he quickly arrived at the edge of the Yellow Soil Lake. Before arriving here, Ning Cheng saw several cultivators confronting each other. These people were all at the edge of the Yellow Soil Lake, and one of them was a female cultivator. Ning Cheng also knew this female cultivator, Shi Qianghua's senior apprentice sister Jingyi, who still wore a veil over her face. On the other side were 3 cultivators, 2 of whom Ning Cheng also knew. He had driven them away from the entrance of the exploding golden wasps canyon. Ning Cheng did not expect that these 2 fellows would come to the Yellow Soil Lake and confront Jingyi after leaving. Seeing Jingyi, Ning Cheng immediately thought of Shi Qianghua. Go. Ning Cheng only spoke 2 words, and Chasing Bull immediately rushed over, completely ignoring the surrounding cultivators. The surrounding cultivators, on seeing Chasing Bull rush over, immediately gave way to both sides. They did not care about a bull, but someone standing on the back of a bull and acting so arrogantly, it showed that this person was not a simple person. The cultivators who came here either wanted to see the Earth Origin bead, obtain the Earth Origin bead, or see if they could comprehend something from the Earth Origin bead. They naturally did not want to clash with an arrogant cultivator. Arrogant people should be dealt with by arrogant people. Several powerful cultivators, on seeing Ning Cheng standing on the back of the bull with an arrogant look on his face, frowned in dissatisfaction. Even they would not act arrogantly at the edge of the Yellow Soil Lake. So where did this fellow come from? How could he be so arrogant? The few cultivators confronting Jingyi immediately turned their attention to Ning Cheng, especially the 2 fellows who knew Ning Cheng, who stared at Ning Cheng nervously. They worried that Ning Cheng had come to settle accounts with them. Even with so many people, they could not deal with this bull-riding cultivator. Now that there were only 3 of them, they did not even need to think about it. They knew that they would not be Ning Cheng's opponents. Jingyi also took a step back and stared at Ning Cheng with vigilance. It's the 2 of you again? Ning Cheng did not even come down from the bull's back, as his condescending eyes glanced at the few people in front of him. Friend, we have nothing to do with you here. Previously, we took the initiative to give way. Don't you think it's a little too much for you to chase us here? A middle-aged man stared at Ning Cheng and spoke in a reasonable tone, but the fact was that everyone could hear that his words were somewhat timid and weak. Why are you confronting each other here? Don't they know that this is where the origin bead is? If you don't like to look at the origin bead, don't block other people's interest. Although Ningqing did not have a favorable impression of Jing Yi, but in this place he would certainly help Shi Qionghua's senior apprentice sister Jing Yi in his heart. Previously, he had seen that Shi Qionghua had not entered the immortal Jade Star. Now that Jing Yi was here, he wanted to confirm it. At this moment, Jing Yi also saw that Ning Cheng and the cultivators confronting her had some contradictions. She stood up and cupped her fists towards Ning Cheng before speaking. This Dao friend, I obviously came to this place first, but these cultivators who came later insisted that I give up this position. So it turned out that they were confronting each other over such a trivial matter. Ningqing felt a little speechless. It seems that Jing Yi was not a good person. If it were someone who saved trouble, then maybe he would have let it go. That's right, your ancestor must have taken a fancy to this place. Also, this kid, do you think that you are a bull just because you are riding on a stupid bull? Get lost, or I will kick you into the lake. The cultivator who did not know Ningqing did not even put Ningqing in his eyes. When his two companions heard this, they immediately knew that it was not good. They had seen Ningqing's strength with their own eyes. When Ningqing heard that the two sides were quarreling over a spot, he did not want to ask about it. He just wanted to ask about Shi Qionghua, and then leave. If he wanted to be arrogant, then he must have a legitimate reason. Now that he did not even have a legitimate reason, he could not be arrogant. He did not expect that someone would actually want to kick him into the lake. He had come here deliberately to be arrogant, to let people know about his domineering nature. That way, when it came time to snatch the origin bead, those who did not like to meddle would not bother him. Now that someone took the initiative to look for trouble, why would he remain polite? Ningqing did not even come down from the bull's back. Instead, he flew over. The cultivator who wanted to teach Ningqing a lesson, on seeing Ningqing rushing over, sneered and brought out a blue on. However, before he could stimulate the blue on, he felt a strong suppression. That's right, it was suppression. It was the kind of imposing aura suppression that the strong exerted on the weak, or a kind of domain suppression. This kind of suppression caused his spiritual consciousness and celestial essence to suddenly slow down. Even if he was a fool, this celestial gatherer cultivator realized that he had met a powerhouse. Before he could speak, a huge foot arrived in front of his face. Bang! With a muffled sound, Ningqing kicked the cultivator directly into the yellow sand lake. Then, in front of everyone's eyes, the earth-attributed laws assimilated the cultivator into a pile of yellow sand before disappearing into the yellow sand lake. Unexpectedly, he did not even have the chance to make a move before Ningqing sent him flying with a kick. At this moment, the yellow sand lake turned silent. This cultivator riding the bull was too terrifying, or perhaps he was too powerful. Some of the cultivators even began to quietly leave. With such a powerhouse here, even if they managed to snatch something, it would not be their turn. The two cultivators who knew Ningqing turned even paler. They cupped their fists towards Ningqing and immediately retreated to the side. Even so, the two people still did not leave the yellow sand lake. Jing Yi's face also turned a little pale. She had never seen such a terrifying celestial gatherer cultivator. Many thanks for this friend's help. Although Ningqing did not help her, she still quickly came forward and cupped her fists to thank him. She did not dare to offend such a person. Ningqing gave a casual grunt. Where did you come from? The surrounding cultivators, on hearing Ningqing's words, intentionally or unintentionally stepped aside. In these people's view, this bull-riding fellow must have taken a fancy to this female cultivator with a veil over her face. Otherwise, he would not have come forward to help and even asked so many questions. I come from Grand Culmination Starry Sky's everlasting sacred shrine. Although Jing Yi felt worried, she still spoke calmly. Oh, everlasting sacred shrine? Did you come alone from your everlasting sacred shrine? Ningqing pretended to be surprised. Yes, I came alone from my everlasting sacred shrine. Jing Yi did not know what Ningqing wanted to do. Therefore, when she answered, she remained very careful while secretly keeping her guard up. What puzzled her was that the powerhouse who asked the question just nodded. and did not say anything more. After waiting for a long time, she did not hear Ning Cheng's words. Only then did she carefully stand a little further away. Ning Cheng's strength made many people unhappy, but no one came up to say anything. They did not come here to show off their superiority, but for the origin bead. After Ning Cheng established his prestige, he began to observe the surrounding situation. The last time he came here, he had tried it with his spiritual consciousness blade. Although it could barely enter the yellow sand lake, it would cause too much damage. Maybe he managed to snatch the earth origin bead, but before he could take it away, someone might have killed him due to excessive consumption. This time he had advanced to the celestial bridge realm. Therefore, when he came to this place again, the first thing he wanted to do was to check the surroundings and see if his spiritual consciousness blade could protect him and snatch the origin bead. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness circled around the yellow sand lake, and his expression immediately changed. It was not until this moment that he saw a monitoring array formation hidden above the yellow sand lake. This monitoring array formation covered the entire yellow sand lake and its surroundings. Previously, his spiritual consciousness cultivation was not high enough to see it. But this time, he could see it clearly. If someone else discovered this monitoring array formation, they might have thought that this array formation was naturally formed. However, Ning Cheng was not someone else. He had the mysterious yellow bead, a good fortune treasure. Moreover, with Zhang Wei's reminder, he immediately understood that this earth origin bead was just a bait. The person it wanted to lure was him, Ning Cheng. At this moment, even if Ning Cheng wanted to snatch the origin bead, he would have to think twice about it. Fortunately, he had changed his appearance after entering the immortal Jade Star. Otherwise, with him doing these things here, someone would have already realized where he came from. Ning Cheng guessed that the cultivator who arranged the monitoring array formation did not think that someone would be able to see through the monitoring array formation above the lake. Just as Ning Cheng anxiously thought about how to break through the monitoring array formation, someone exclaimed, "Look, there's a sapling growing in the heart of the lake." With this exclamation, almost everyone saw this sapling. It was a pale yellow sapling, growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This is the Wind Thunder Apricot. It's definitely the Wind Thunder Apricot. I didn't expect the Wind Thunder Apricot to appear next to the Earth Origin bead in such a way. Another cultivator exclaimed. At this moment, even cultivators who did not understand anything could tell that this was the Wind Thunder Apricot. This pale yellow sapling not only contained a strong wind-attributed aura, but also had faint lightning arcs surrounding it. Not only that, Ning Cheng also felt that as the Wind Thunder Apricot grew, the earth attribute assimilation laws in the yellow sand lake also weakened. In other words, once this Wind Thunder Apricot grew to a certain extent, anyone would be able to enter the yellow sand lake. The earth attribute assimilation laws have weakened. Since Ning Cheng could see it, the other cultivators naturally could also see it. Someone immediately spoke up. At this moment, almost all the cultivators felt excited. Once this Wind Thunder Apricot grew, the earth attribute assimilation laws in the yellow sand lake would disappear, allowing them to freely enter and snatch it. Ning Cheng felt a little anxious in his heart. If not for the Wind Thunder Apricot, he would have had the highest chance of obtaining this Earth Origin bead. Now that the Wind Thunder Apricot appeared, anyone would have a chance to obtain it. However, these things were secondary. The main thing was that there were powerhouses observing from outside the immortal Jade Star. Ning Cheng silently stared at the Wind Thunder Apricot, calculating how long it would take for the Wind Thunder Apricot to grow. Once the Wind Thunder Apricot grew, what method would he use to snatch the Earth Origin bead? Chapter 6:10. According to the growth trend of the Wind Thunder Apricot, it would take at most 3 days for the Wind Thunder Apricot to fully mature. From this, one could imagine how many cultivators would gather here in 3 days. At this moment, everyone was staring at the Wind Thunder Apricot and trying to feel the earth-attributed laws of the yellow sand lake. Once the earth-attributed laws disappeared, everyone would rush in to grab the Earth Origin bead and the Wind Thunder Apricot. Ningcheng walked to the place where he placed the monitoring array disk and put away the monitoring array disk. However, no one cared about it. At this moment, Ningcheng thought of the most direct way, that is, to break the monitoring array formation before snatching it. After breaking the monitoring array formation, everyone started to snatch the Earth origin bead. Without any powerhouses watching, Ningcheng could do whatever he wanted. The Wind Thunder apricot would take 3 days to mature. As Ningcheng expected, the news of the Wind Thunder apricot's appearance quickly spread out, causing many cultivators to flock over. Initially, because of the Yellow Sand Lake's Earth-attributed assimilation laws, some cultivators took the initiative to leave. Now that the Wind Thunder apricot appeared, the Earth-attributed assimilation laws slowly weakened, causing more and more people to come. Ningcheng was originally in the innermost area, but as more and more people came, he was pushed to the back. Among these newly arrived cultivators, only a few of them knew who Ningcheng was. If Ningcheng did not want to step back, naturally no one could push him. But now, Ningcheng voluntarily stepped back. In less than half a day, Ningcheng was squeezed out of the Yellow Sand Lake's monitoring array formation. Of course, Ningcheng had calculated the range of the monitoring array formation. He calculated that after squeezing himself out of the monitoring array formation, he still retreated a dozen meters before carefully moving away. After moving away from this place, Ningcheng changed his appearance again. This time, he changed into a middle-aged cultivator with a yellowish complexion, and changed his robes before letting Chasing Bull enter the miniature world. Once again arriving at the periphery of the Yellow Sand Lake, he walked along the periphery while constantly throwing out concealment array flags. At this time, there were many cultivators wandering around the periphery like Ningcheng, but Ningcheng was not the only one. These cultivators wanted to squeeze in, but they were afraid of offending people and could only wait outside. No wonder we couldn't find the Wind Thunder apricot. It turns out that this kind of spiritual object only appears at a limited time. Moreover, it only appears next to the Earth origin bead. Outside the immortal Jade Star, on the gray-black airship, Zhangkong Tianji gave out a sigh. Yi Jiufeng and Xiao Jierwei both stared at the Wind Thunder apricot with longing in their eyes. The Earth origin bead was more precious than the Wind Thunder apricot, but the Wind Thunder apricot was more useful to them than the Earth origin bead. Chuan Xinluo also gave out a sigh and spoke. I once heard that the Wind Thunder apricot tree is a Dao fruit. It is something that can illuminate the Dao. Unexpectedly, it appeared in the immortal Jade Star. If that treasure of fortune doesn't come out, I'll take the Wind Thunder apricot. You can divide the other things among yourselves, but I must obtain the Wind Thunder apricot. Xiao Jierwei swallowed a mouthful of saliva and spoke in a dry voice. Chuan Xinluo frowned. It's too early to say these things. Anyway, we can all see it clearly. It was obvious who obtained the Wind Thunder apricot, and who obtained the Earth origin bead. No matter who gets it, it will still be placed in front of us in the future. The 4 of us have already taken a blood oath here, so no one would dare to mess around with it. Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart is right. This thing is right in front of our eyes. Who can snatch it away? Yi Jiufeng agreed. 3 days passed by quickly, and the Wind Thunder apricot was about to fully mature. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness swept out, and found that the Earth-attributed assimilation law in the Yellow Sand Lake was gradually disappearing. At the same time, many cultivators were preparing to rush in. Ningcheng knew that time was up. He could not wait for the Earth-attributed assimilation law to disappear completely before taking action. The array flags in Ningcheng's hands fell one after another, followed by crackling sounds coming from the top of his head. Not waiting for the others to figure out what the problem was, Ningcheng activated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, flew over everyone's heads and entered the Yellow Sand Lake. Although the Earth-attributed assimilation law in the Yellow Sand Lake had almost disappeared, it had not completely disappeared. The moment Ningcheng entered the Yellow Sand Lake, the Earth-attributed assimilation law wrapped around Ningcheng. However, Ningcheng had already prepared for it. With a spiritual consciousness blade slash, his celestial river domain immediately stretched out, blocking the assimilation law outside. He did not even need to bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City. Ning Cheng could be said to have rushed in earlier than the others because he did not intend to snatch the Wind Thunder Apricot. His goal was the Earth Origin bead. Therefore, whether the Wind Thunder Apricot matured or not, it had nothing to do with him. However, Ning Cheng had arrived earlier than Ning Cheng. Several cultivators had already rushed in before Ning Cheng. Apparently, these cultivators were also here for the Earth Origin bead. Moreover, these cultivators, like Ning Cheng, had the Earth attributed assimilation law weakened. After bringing out their weapons, the weakened Earth attributed laws could not harm them at all. With someone rushing in first, it immediately caused the surrounding crowd to tense up. At the same time, the 10 to 20,000 people at the edge of the yellow sand lake all rushed in. Each of them wanted to grab the Earth Origin bead and the Wind Thunder Apricot. Ning Cheng had already calculated everything. He used the twin wings of the heavenly clouds and the spiritual consciousness blade. Therefore, he should have the fastest speed in this yellow sand lake. However, when he arrived next to the Earth Origin bead, another cultivator also arrived. This cultivator's speed was not even half a step slower than Ning Cheng's. Just as Ning Cheng's hand moved to grab the Earth Origin bead, a sharp murderous intent shot towards him. This cultivator did not choose to snatch the Earth Origin bead from Ning Cheng, but chose to sneak attack Ning Cheng. As long as he killed Ning Cheng, he could snatch the Earth Origin bead before the next person arrived. If he used this method to deal with ordinary cultivators, it would have definitely succeeded. Unfortunately, he was dealing with Ning Cheng. Whether it was his celestial essence or domain, he could not restrain Ning Cheng. In terms of spiritual consciousness, he could not compare to Ning Cheng. If there were only two people trying to snatch the Earth Origin bead, Ning Cheng would have blocked this murderous intent and then killed the other party. But now, Ning Cheng knew that as long as he paused for a breath, thousands of cultivators would rush in. Because at this time, the Wind Thunder Apricot tree had also matured, and the assimilating aura of the Earth laws within the Yellow Sand Lake had weakened to its lowest level. Ning Cheng only strengthened his celestial river domain and slightly twisted his body. However, he did not completely avoid this murderous intent, and still raised his hand to grab the Earth Origin bead. Poof! The moment Ning Cheng grabbed the Earth Origin bead, a sharp killing intent pierced through his left waist. This killing intent also brought out a mist of blood. However, the cultivator who attacked Ning Cheng felt horrified. Under the suppression of his domain and killing power, Ning Cheng did not even have the slightest effect on him. In other words, if the other party had not come to snatch the Earth Origin bead, he would have already turned around and killed him. What a powerful cultivator! That was the only thought in his mind. Ning Cheng did not feel surprised. What was this injury to him? After obtaining the Earth Origin bead, the first thing he wanted to do was not to fight back but to escape. Otherwise, with so many cultivators here, if each of them attacked him, he would have no choice but to die. Sure enough, the moment Ning Cheng grabbed the Earth Origin bead, countless murderous intents shot towards Ning Cheng at the same time. Ning Cheng's figure twisted again, and grabbed the two fruits on the Wind Thunder Apricot tree in front of him. At the same time, his giant axe turned into thousands of axe lines and swept out. Boom boom boom. A burst of celestial essence explosions rang out. Ning Cheng's giant axe had no idea how many attacks it had blocked. But even so, his axe lines could not block all the incoming murderous intents. Poof poof. Just after grabbing two fruits, dozens of attacks passed through Ning Cheng's axe lines, tore through Ning Cheng's celestial river domain, and bombarded Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng almost felt paralyzed. His celestial essence quickly disappeared at this moment, and even his spiritual consciousness started to wither. At this time, Ning Cheng could not care about his injuries. Stimulating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds crazily, he rushed out of the crowd in a blink of an eye, leaving behind a trail of blood. Despite the heavy injuries, Ning Cheng felt very happy in his heart. He did not manage to get the Wind Thunder Apricot tree, but he managed to grab the Earth Origin bead and obtain two fruits. Most importantly, he did not bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City, nor did he bring out his long spear, nor did he use the dusk spiritual technique. A group of cultivators on seeing Ning Cheng snatch the Earth Origin bead and escape immediately chased after him. As for the other group of cultivators, they continued to fight over the wind thunder apricot tree. If one had to say what speed was the fastest in a hurry, then in this place, Ning Cheng's twin wings of the heavenly clouds could only claim second place. In just a few breaths, Ning Cheng's figure started to fade away. The cultivator, who arrived at the earth origin bead almost at the same time as Ning Cheng, on seeing Ning Cheng escape, did not chase after him. Instead, he rushed towards the wind thunder apricot tree. Perhaps he knew that even if he caught up to the other party could still kill him with a backhand. After Ning Cheng shook off the cultivator chasing after him, he swallowed a handful of medicinal pills, and then frantically concealed his aura, while simultaneously using the earth escape technique. Choosing to use the earth escape technique was a temporary decision. The moment he grasped the earth origin bead, he felt a strong sense of the laws of earth. This allowed his understanding of the earth escape technique to double compared to before. Moreover, as he used the earth escape technique, his understanding of the laws of earth also grew more profound. Another reason for choosing the earth escape technique was that Ning Cheng knew that besides using the earth escape technique, he could not gain a foothold in the immortal Jade Star. Ning Cheng had not guessed wrong. The moment he destroyed the monitoring array formation, the four powerhouses watching the monitoring array formation screen in the cabin immediately stood up. Someone saw through our monitoring array formation and destroyed it. Xiao Jierui's face turned black. Yi Jiufeng gave a snort. Puny ants, daring to covet the earth origin bead and the wind thunder apricot. As she spoke, she could no longer stay. Her figure flashed and rushed out. The next moment, she rushed towards the immortal Jade Star. With Yi Jiufeng rushing towards the immortal Jade Star, the other three naturally did not hesitate. One by one, they all rushed towards the immortal Jade Star. The earth origin bead was originally a bait. If the fish killed the bait and escaped, it would truly be a joke. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.